on 97.3 The Fan.
San Diego, a very pleasant Tuesday afternoon to you. Welcome inside Gwynn and Chris, San Diego's number one sports talk station, 97.3 The Fan, proud home of the San Diego Padres. Chris Ello coming to you from Las Vegas today. Hopefully I'll be here for a couple more days, Scraby. The Aztec women's team able to advance into the semifinals of the Mountain West tournament tonight. We'll talk about that a little bit. The men, of course, are heading to Vegas where they will start play on Thursday. Tony Gwynn Jr. is in Peoria. He has today's broadcast with Jesse Agler. We'll update you on the Padres-White Sox game here in a moment. And then there was one holding down the fort in San Diego, California, Mr. Matt Scraby.
Oh, well, thank
What's
you
up,
very
buddy?
much. Not too much.
Yeah.
I
heard there's a little, I got a weather report from my wife today. Said we had some rain in the county this morning. Is that accurate?
Wow, it is raining really hard. This is
Really?
being cool here on the Entercom Empire. So if you're sitting out there,
What? It's that bad?
It's raining pretty hard right now, Chris. It is. It is.
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
Definitely raining hard. You know what?
Okay.
I feel like I'm talking, I've been watching a lot of Home Improvement lately, and I feel like I'm talking to Wilson, the neighbor from Home Improvement, because Chris's camera.
I know. I'm trying to work on it.
It's okay.
I know. There we go.
The only reason I
Hang
said
on.
it is because you look like Wilson. Did you ever watch that show?
I know. I was coming in like this on the
Yeah.
YouTube. It wasn't good.
If you've never watched Home Improvement, his neighbor is always behind something, so you only see the top half of his head, which is like the
got
joke.
it. Gotcha. Well, here I am. We are happy to be with you. We got a good show lined up for you on this Tuesday. Tony will be joining us a little bit later on. And the wildness continues in the NFL free agency. We'll update you on all of that stuff as well. March Madness and everything. But Scraby, we have to start by talking about the March badness.
Uh-oh.
Not March Madness. Talking about March badness.
Wait, I mean, the Aztecs just won handily over the weekend. The
No, the
women
March
keep winning?
badness. The March badness is taking place in Peoria, where the Padres continue to be the worst team in all of Major League Baseball in spring training. Before I even get into this, let's remind everybody that spring training doesn't mean anything in the broadest sense of things. Let's also understand that once the season gets underway, nobody remembers who does what in spring training. However, having said that, having acknowledged that, could spring training be going any worse for the Padres than it is?
I think it's going okay. I mean, if you're going to put aside the wins and losses, I think it's going fine. We're learning about guys. There's good competition. I'm going to spin this into a positive, Chris, because you guys keep telling me that spring training doesn't matter, but then you bring it back to the fact that their wins and losses don't look too good in spring training.
All right. Well, their wins and losses don't look too good. As a matter of fact, they're 4-12. They have the worst record of any team in all of baseball. So let's start there. Let's add to the fact that their run differential in spring training is minus 38. That is by far the worst of any team in baseball. Let's add to that they're losing to the White Sox today, 4-2 in the third inning. Let's add to that Dylan Cease got banged around pretty good today. Michael King got banged around pretty good yesterday. And Matt Waldron was absolutely awful on Sunday. Let's add to that even Jason Adam gave up a bunch of runs yesterday. Look, I know what it is. I know that everybody is working on stuff and getting ready for the season. But Matt Waldron, 9 innings, 9 runs. Dylan Cease, 7 innings, 7 runs. Michael King coughs up a couple. Jason Adam gives up 4. Robert Suarez, ERA of over 10. None of these things are exactly making me feel all warm and fuzzy inside, Scrabe. I got to tell you.
I got all the answers for you, Chris.
Okay.
Now, Michael King said the other day he's been taking the spring training a little bit different. The first couple starts, he was just working on stuff that he needed to work on. And then this past start, he kind of, game plan hitters a little bit. He said his fastball wasn't good enough, but his breaking pitches were, and his off-speed stuff. Basically, I could go through each guy, but all of them are trying something new in spring training to figure out what they need, what they can use during the regular season. I'm going to spin this into a positive. You can't keep telling me well, this stuff doesn't matter and then bring up stats from the stuff that doesn't matter.
Well, look, for Matt Waldron, I think it matters a little bit. I mean, look, he's pitching so badly that he may pitch himself out of the number 5 spot in the rotation.
That could be true.
The only saving grace for Matt Waldron is that Vasquez hasn't been very good either, and Kyle Hart really hasn't been able to get on the mound much. We haven't seen much of him. But Waldron, 7 walks in 9 innings. I mean, he's been he's been really, really poor in his 3 starts.
The knuckleball.
The only guy that is, yeah, right. The knuckleball's not knuckling right. The only guy that's been really impressive is Nick Pivetta. Now he's started 2 games, 5 2/3 innings, 1 hit, 7 Ks. He's mowing everybody down. And you're right. It doesn't look. You could go into the opening week of the season, and Waldron could pitch a shutout, and Pivetta could get bombed. But I'm just saying, you like to have a few things to look at that are putting you in a positive frame of mind. Now, on the other, maybe on the more important thing with the Padres, the battle for left field, I think there's been some real positives there, right? Tirso Ornelas, 10 hits, hitting 345. Oscar Gonzalez, 10 hits, hitting 333. Both those guys have, showed out in spring training. Forrest Walls hit a couple of home runs. Gavin Sheets has now hit 3 home runs despite hitting 194. I think Eggy has, done some good things with 2 home runs, although he struck out 9 times. Finally, Jason Heyward got his first RBI of the spring here in the game today. So, everybody in left field is making it a little difficult, for Mike Shilton company to figure out who's going to be on this opening day roster. And that, I would say, is a good thing. But the pitching has really been slow to come around. And it's fair to say, even in a situation where the statistics don't really mean that much. Nobody's pitching well.
That is true.
This is breaking news from 97.3 The Fan.
Wow.
Jackson Merrill homered in the game. The game is now tied 4-4, baby. Let's go. I got a lot of energy today, everyone. I'm warning everyone right now.
You played the sounder. You played the sounder for a spring home run. You just told me that spring doesn't matter, which I told you spring doesn't matter.
Yeah, but I'm just putting it back in your face like, hey, you're gonna do this doom and gloom thing over here. I'm gonna tell you that they tied up the game. Yuli Gurriel has an RBI. Like you said, Jason Heyward has an RBI. What did you call him?
What'd you call him?
Is it Yuli?
Yuli Gurriel?
No, Yuli.
Oh, good. Okay.
Yeah, Yuli.
I thought you called them like Huey, Dewey, and Louie. I guess. Like, no, you can't.
No,
that's not right.
No, that's
all right. Good. So 4-4 now against the White Sox, and if they do win this game, they could pull back into a tie for 29th place with the White Sox in the exhibition standings.
It's good stuff.
So
they're just saving everything for the season.
Of course they are.
I know people in the chat are kind of angry that I did the breaking news. They thought something like a trade came down. I should use that more sparingly.
Yes, you should. They thought that we cut Matt Waldron based on my statistics that I just gave out.
Yeah.
So what do you think? I mean, what are you hearing? What do you think? I mean, we're all hearing and thinking different things. But if you had to look, opening day, they're going to be facing a left-handed pitcher, Chris Sale, right?
Yep.
For the Braves.
Yep.
So who's going to be in the starting lineup on opening day? Are they going to put Cronenworth at first base on opening day and start Jose Iglesias, a right-handed hitter, at second base on opening day? Are they going to have Arraez be the DH? Are they going to put Eggy in left field? Are they going to put Connor Joe in left field? Remember, these are the right-handed hitters. Is Martin Maldonado really going to make the team while they send Luis Campusano back to the minor leagues? These to me are the interesting questions that have to be answered between now and 16 days from now.
They definitely have to be answered between now and 16 days from now. But I guess there's some thought out there, and I'm kind of switching gears just a little bit, but there's some thought out there that Garrett Cole going out for the year and Luis Gil being out for the first 2 months, that the Padres have, pitching capital that they could trade to the Yankees, and the Yankees would have to pay a little bit more so that they could have some sort of a starting rotation. I mean, I think that there's still time left in spring training. I think Jason Heyward's going to be in left field, or not Jason Heyward, Connor Joe's going to be in left field when it comes to opening day, as you said.
Here's the thing about the Yankees and some of the reports. Let's just say the Padres really did want to trade Dylan Cease, which I don't think they should do.
No.
But let's just say they really wanted to trade Dylan Cease, and let's just say that the Yankees were the team. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Who are the Yankees going to give the Padres that's going to take over in left field? Are the Yankees really going to part with Jason Dominguez?
No.
Absolutely not.
That's all they got left.
Yeah. They don't have anything to give the Padres. They might have a ton of prospects somewhere, but the Padres don't need if the Padres are going to trade Dylan Cease to the Yankees, if that was really true, if that was really something that was in the works, the Padres would have to get back some starting players to fill in the holes they have.
Yes, they would. Definitely.
And I don't know what the Yankees have. The Yankees have Aaron Judge. The Yankees have Cody Bellinger. The Yankees have, a hurt, broken down Giancarlo Stanton.
It's true.
I mean, what do the Yankees have?
I'll take Aaron Judge.
Okay. All right.
No,
you know what
I actually.
So I get the fact that everybody says, oh, the Yankees need pitching, so they're going to call the Padres. Well, that's great. What are the Yankees going to give the Padres that's going to make it interesting for us?
I'm going to tell you on the other side of the break, Chris, the name that I have been reading and hearing about who the Yankees can send as like a main player. And I'm not necessarily sure about it, but I want to hear your opinion on the other side.
All right, we'll continue that conversation as we get underway. Also, the update from here in Las Vegas, the Aztec men's basketball team got some really good news today as some of the postseason awards were announced. We'll talk about the March Madness that's going on. Also, in our first hour today, a surprising development as Matt Scraby, the producer of the show, has made what is tantamount to a seismic shift. He has moved Chris versus the fans into the 2:30 segment today.
I have.
So some of you out there that may have never played Chris versus the fans because you're not listening at 4 o'clock or you're not near your phone at 4 o'clock, will get that chance coming up today. We'll take our first break. Back with more Gwynn and Chris with Tony coming later on 97.3 The Fan.
We
these things. It even tells you, hey, there's a canyon over here. Don't hit it here.
Scraby from about 45 feet. His caddy tells him to play it a little to the right. He's been playing well so far today. Fourth hole. Nice smooth delivery. Hit it too hard. Sasquatch.
So Chris says that he can't play golf, but this is the second birdie putt he's made for us. This time it was like 20 feet.
Thank you very much, Greg. But once again, you're hitting some very nice shots as well. I'm not usually complimentary to you, but can't help but be complimentary. Your shot making today.
With my what?
Your shot making. You hit some.
These things. It even tells you, hey, there's a canyon over here. Don't hit it here.
It's Gravy from about 45 feet. His caddy tells him to play it a little to the right. He's been playing well so far today. Fourth hole. Nice smooth delivery. Hit it too hard. Sasquatch.
So Chris says that he can't play golf, but this is the second birdie putt he's made for us. This time it was like 20 feet.
Thank you very much, Greg. But once again, you're hitting some very nice shots as well. I'm not usually complimentary to you, but can't help but be complimentary. Your shot making today.
With my what?
Your shot making. You hit some.
These things. It even tells you, hey, there's a canyon over here. Don't hit it here.
It's Gravy from about 45 feet. His caddy tells him to play it a little to the right. He's been playing well so far today. Fourth hole. Nice smooth delivery. Hit it too hard. Way here with Chris Ello in Las Vegas. Hopefully I will not be back tomorrow, Scraby. I miss you, don't get me wrong. But the Aztec women's basketball team will be playing UNLV tonight in the semifinals of the women's tournament here. UNLV, by the way, has a record in its last 64 conference games of 61-3. That's all the Aztecs have to beat tonight to advance to the final. The Aztecs
were one of those three, one of those three.
Yes, the Aztecs were one of those three earlier this season. So I know that they're very confident, the kids are, and they're locked in, and they hope they can pull it off tonight. So we'll see. But if they do win, then I'll be in Vegas again tomorrow for the finals. If not, I'll be back with you, my friend. In the meantime, the men's team will be heading out here for a game on Thursday against Boise State in the first round. Now, before we get to that, I want it, and I will get to your Padre guy, Scraby.
It's not mine. It's just what I've seen.
Right, what you're seeing. But the men's team got some news today. Nick Boyd and Miles Byrd were both chosen second team all-conference. So good on them. Byrd was on the all-defensive team. But the big winner today was Magoon Guath. He was named Freshman of the Year. He was named Defensive Player of the Year. And he also found his way onto the honorable mention all-conference team. And, it reminds you that the Aztecs have been playing without him for the last month or so, since he hurt his knee in that game at Utah State where the referees let him lie on the floor while they ran up and down the court. Don't get me started with that again.
It's true.
But, hopefully Guath can play some in this game on Thursday against Boise State. And here's the reason why. If you look at the bracketology today, Scraby, Jerry Palm, the guy we like to go to on CBS Sports.
Yes.
He currently has the Aztecs as an 11 seed. And he also has Boise State as an 11 seed. And both of those teams in his bracket are playing in the first four, those play-in games.
Yes.
All right. But now the Aztecs play Boise State. One of them is going to win and solidify their spot in the field. The other one is going to lose and be very, very nervous waiting for the selections to come out on Sunday.
Yeah.
And I just hope, the Aztecs have got to know, and I'm sure Boise State knows, this is maybe one game to determine whether you go to the NCAA tournament. Now, I'm not saying whether that it should be, that's right, that's wrong. I know Joe Lunardi has the Aztecs as a 10 seed. He's got them a little bit higher. But the bottom line is, these people know what they're doing on this bracketology stuff. I hate to say.
They do.
The Aztecs are on the bubble. They're playing another bubble team.
Yep.
So if you lose that game, what's going to happen? Boise State's going to get ahead of you.
Yep.
So
it's a do or die.
It is. It's a big one. I know if they lose, they could still get in. I believe that, but I will be nervous because it's going to be nerve-wracking for sure.
Yeah.
So Thursday will be big for the Aztecs here in Las Vegas.
It's going to be on right in the middle of the show too.
I know.
It's 2:30, I think.
I think it is 2:30 Thursday, which means you've got to tune in on Thursday, and you have to do everything you can to watch the show on the video chat.
Yeah, because Chris might cry again.
I probably won't, but I will go crazy during the game.
Yes.
So it's always fun to watch me watch an Aztec game.
It is fun. I will admit that. I do like that.
So that'll be some of the entertainment on Thursday. Now, before we went to break, Scraby said, and it's a big if, because everybody's, just with the Garrett Cole injury, Luis Hill being out, the Yankees are desperate now for a starting pitcher. So everybody thinks, the Padres would be perfect team to call. And you're telling me that there is a name out there.
Yes.
That you've heard.
Yes. That
potentially could interest the Padres were they to make a trade with the Yankees.
That is correct, Chris. And the name that I have been seeing is Austin Wells, their catcher. He was their first-round draft pick. He was 28th overall in 2020. He had a 2.5 WAR last season. His batting average, 229, 55 RBIs, 13 home runs, OPS 718. He had an OPS plus of 103. So that tells me, he's not an outstanding catcher, but it would be an upside if they were to go in this direction, that he has this pedigree and that he's getting better each year. I don't think they're going to trade Dylan Cease for this guy, but that's the name I've been reading.
Yeah. Well, whoever's writing that name.
A lot of people, not just one or two.
I didn't say whoever. I meant whoever, like all the people.
Oh, okay.
All the people who are writing the name Austin Wells, you're not very smart.
Why do you say that?
All I have to do is take a look at what Austin Wells did last year in the postseason.
Oh, come on.
This is a pretty big sample size, Scrabe. He had 50 at-bats. he struck out 22 times.
Yeah, it's not great.
He almost struck out 1 out of every 2 times he came up. It became painfully obvious to anyone watching the Cleveland ALCS and then on into the World Series that Austin Wells flat out cannot hit a fastball above the belt. That is the only pitch that the Dodgers threw him for 5 straight games. And he hit one that wasn't placed well for a home run. Every other time he struck out. And the Yankees thought so highly of Austin Wells that they actually batted him cleanup behind their first 3 of Judge and Stanton and Soto. But it was a complete disaster because Austin Wells was an automatic out.
I mean,
and not only was he an automatic out, he was an automatic strikeout.
If we're gonna like nitpick with him, and by the way, I'm not saying that I want this to happen. I'm just saying this is what I'm reading.
Right.
If we're gonna nitpick this, the Padres didn't have a great ending to their season at the plate either. I believe it was 24 straight innings without scoring a run. So if we're gonna go apples to apples, I mean, Austin Wells' team went to the World Series. Padres didn't.
Austin Wells is not going to help the Padres, and I honestly would just assume go with Diaz and Campusano and Maldonado if I get to keep Dylan Cease.
I agree. I want to go with Sam and I were saying this yesterday because we were talking about the trade possibilities. We think that this team is built to win, and we want to see it stay together. We don't want to see it break up and have Dylan Cease, one of your mainstays, get moved a couple days before the season. We want to see this through. We want to see what they can do.
I've said it already. If you really want to try and improve this team right before the season, you take a risk and you trade Robert Suarez and you try to fill in with a little more reliable type of left fielder / DH, and you make Jason Adam your closer. But other than that, I'm not signing off on anything.
All right. I agree. I mean, they're fine. They don't need, if Austin Wells was hitting maybe 260, you think about it a lot more.
The thing is, you're right that the postseason, sometimes it's a little unfair, but in the postseason, your weaknesses are exposed.
Mm-hmm.
And Austin Wells had a huge weakness last offseason. Huge.
I wonder if he went into the offseason and just did nothing but swing at fastballs above the belt all winter.
I hope he did. I hope he did, because he could not hit them last year in the World Series at all. All right, we'll take a break. When we come back, Scraby has moved it around. Chris versus the fans. We've got a great prize to get you in line for. I know we always play it at 4:00, but today we're playing it early. Chance perhaps for some of you newcomers to give it your best shot at some sports trivia. 833-288-0973. Call in. We'll play when we come back on Gwynn and Chris.
Ben and Woods.
Welcome back to Gwynn and Chris. Just getting started on a rainy Tuesday. Everybody take your time out there. Relax. You will get home. We'll help you get home.
What's the weather like out there for you?
Las Vegas, it's fine.
Oh.
Yeah, it's now turned a little overcast. It was sunny this morning, but it's been okay here in Las Vegas. Not too cold.
How long have you been there for? Since Sunday?
Since Sunday, which isn't that long, but if we have to, the suitcase starts to get empty after a few days.
That is like an eternity in Las Vegas. 2 days is like an eternity.
Yeah, but I'm not the typical Las Vegas.
Yeah, neither am I.
Visitor.
No,
you know what I mean. I don't get into too much of that part of the Vegas scene anymore.
I'm not going to find you drunk playing craps at 3 a.m.
At the Circus.
Yeah. Man, if you're playing craps at 3 a.m. at Circus, you need to reevaluate.
Yes, you've hit rock bottom. At that
You really
point.
have.
Yes, you have. The Padres, though, have hit gold maybe with Gavin Sheets. He has homered again in spring training. Gavin Sheets trying to make this team. He's
4 straight days with a home run now.
Yeah, his 4th home run of the spring. Is it really 4 days in a row?
I'm pretty sure it's 4 days in a row.
Yeah, I did not realize that, Scrape. He has given the Padres a 5-4 lead over the White Sox today. In Peoria, Jackson Merrill is homered in this game as well. Dylan Cease, though, did not have a great outing. 3 2/3 innings, he gave up 4 runs. 4 hits, struck out 4. So that was the Dylan Cease day for you. 5-4 Padres over the Shy Sox. All right, we're going to get into some Chris versus the fans here, and this is a different time. We usually play it at 4:00, but Scraby, we got a nice prize. Scraby want to make sure we get the game in today. Doesn't want to take any chances.
Well, we didn't do it yesterday, and so
right. So we didn't do it yesterday. I have to get down to the basketball game here in a little while. So Scraby says, we're moving it up, baby.
Yes.
And you know what's nice, Scraby?
That's exactly how I delivered it to you, too. I said, Chris,
right,
we're moving it up, baby.
Yeah. And the thing is it's like it must just be your show because you don't really ask anybody. You just kind of do it. You notice that?
To move forward and plan the show, I kind of just have to make decisions because there's lots of moving parts if you haven't noticed.
I'm surprised you don't call Tony to get the okay, honestly.
You know what? Tony trusts me. So I usually if I say, hey, here's the plan, and he doesn't like it, he'll tell me. Same with you. But
that's true.
Most of the time, Tony's like, okay, cool, whatever.
Well, I like this plan. So let's have some fun. We'll hopefully get some newer contestants. Some people can play Chris versus the fans for the first time. Let's start it.
If you had one shot, one opportunity to take down the human almanac himself,
howdy do.
Now is your time.
Listen to me, this guy is dangerous.
Now is your opportunity to win a prize.
Well, I hope you know what you're in for.
Chris versus the fans starts now on 97.3 The Fan.
All right. The prize is still the one that we have been talking about. 2 tickets to Alanis Morissette at the Coliseum at Caesars Palace on October 24th. 2-night hotel stay October 23rd through the 25th at Flamingo Hotel and Casino, and a $100 gas card. Chris, one of the new favorite things from the listeners out there, what they do is they DM me with these lyrics. That's all they DM me with, and I know exactly what they're talking about, and I absolutely love it. So
you are the Alanis guy. I got to be honest, of all people, I did not see that coming. I did not see that coming.
It is because I was forced to listen to so much of it growing up. That's why. All right.
No, but you might have listened to so much you didn't like it, but you actually listened to it and you like it.
Yeah,
so.
I belt those things out when I'm driving around. Don't ever. You know what? I should stop singing in the car because someone's going to video me or something one day, and it's going to be embarrassing. All right, the rules. You have to make it through 3 questions. Each question will get more difficult. If you get the question right, you move on. If you get it wrong and Chris gets it right, you're eliminated. But if Chris gets it wrong, then you move on to the next question or you win. If you're a first-time player, let us know before you get into it, and you will get that first question for free today. And in the new time, we have some new names. So I'm excited for this. Let's go to our first contestant, Bryce in Escondido. Hello, Bryce.
Hey, boys. How we doing?
Pretty good. Pretty good. Have you ever played before?
Good. I have not, so I'm a first-time player.
Hey, Bryce.
Love
Okay,
it.
that's good news for you.
Yes, here we go.
Yeah, very good news.
On to question.
Can we keep it MLB and NFL, please? Just kidding.
No,
But
you're
please.
you're in luck. There's some
All right, thank God.
definite baseball questions. So here we go. Who currently plays third base for the Phillies?
Alec Bohm.
Wow. Okay, you weren't joking about the baseball stuff over there.
Yeah, he nailed that.
I thought that would be maybe a thought. No, you got it. All right, you get this, and you have put an end to our game very early. Here we go. Question number 3. Who has hit the most home runs in spring training so far across baseball?
Oh, boy. Oh, boy. Oh, boy.
Mike.
I actually don't know, so I'm going to hope that Chris doesn't know.
Okay, that's a good way to play the game, Bryce.
That's a pretty good guess. Well, Gavin Sheets got his 4th today. That seems like quite a few to me, to be honest with you.
If you listened to our show yesterday, Chris, you would know.
Well, how about if I just pick somebody that had 4 last week, and I think that maybe they hit a couple while I wasn't paying attention?
Okay, I think I know where this is going.
How about if I go with former Padre Trace
hate you.
Thompson?
I hate you.
No!
I'm sorry, Bryce. That was mean. That was straight up mean, Chris.
He's leading it, huh?
Yeah, he's got
Who's
6.
he play for now? I forgot who he even plays for. I just remember we saw him because you asked this question last week, didn't you? Or something like it.
Yeah. It keeps changing, but he's playing for the Red Sox right now. He has 6 home runs this spring training.
Okay.
Grapefruit League. I'm sorry, Bryce.
Well, I got
really
lucky.
am.
Sorry about that, Bryce. That does happen sometimes.
I hate when you say that. It does happen sometimes. Just
Well, I also
step
miss
all over
questions.
people's dreams.
I miss questions all the time. You know that.
All right. Let's go to the next. Alex in Cardiff. Hello, Alex.
Hey.
Hey. Ready to play?
Thanks for having me on. I'm ready to play.
All right.
Go Padres.
All right. Go Padres. Here we go, Alex. Question number 1. What team does Jackson Holiday play for?
Baltimore Orioles.
Baltimore Orioles is correct.
Not for long. Scraby told me earlier that he's signed up with Scott Boras. He
Yeah,
could
we'll
be out
cover
of there
that.
shortly.
We'll cover that in the Big 5.
Yes, he could be out of there sooner than you think.
He walked out of the clubhouse in a Scott Boras shirt, and immediately the fans went,
Oh my God.
they were very upset. All right, here we go. Question number 2, Alex. Before the current ownership owned the Dallas Mavericks, who was the owner?
Mark Cuban.
Mark Cuban
Hey,
is
very
correct.
good, Alex. You're doing okay.
All right, on to question number 3. Here we go. There were, I don't think I've asked this, but there were 17 instances of a player hitting 3 home runs in a game last season. 2 players did it twice. Name one of the 2. 2 separate games with 3 home runs in the game.
Boy.
Do we still have Alex?
I hope we still have him.
Yeah, I'm still here. I'm still thinking. I'm not sure. Am I out of time?
Yeah, you got another 2 seconds.
Okay.
All right, it's okay, Alex. You can say you don't know, and then Chris has to guess, and you might be in a good spot.
Let's go Jackson Merrill.
Jackson Merrill.
Jackson
He
Merrill.
did not, but I love the guess. Stay there, Alex. Chris?
Well, this is a shot in the dark to a certain extent. I remember Ohtani, I think, had 3 on the night he hit 50, but I don't know if he had 2 such games. Aaron Judge, of course, hit all those home runs. You'd think he might have done it. But I have a weird feeling by the way you asked this question that it's somebody that's kind of weird.
What?
So I just
really?
know I just know you. But in order to make an intelligent guess, I'll say Ohtani.
Ohtani. Alex, you are the winner.
No.
Wow. You're going to have to stay right there, Alex. You might have to wait a second because we got some time left. But the answer, I mean, Ohtani was a great one, Chris. But the answer would be Kyle Schwarber did it twice.
Right.
And here's your weird one. Lawrence Butler did it twice last year.
Lawrence Butler?
Yes. Two separate games with 3 home runs.
Yeah, I could have guessed for about 6 hours and not come up with him.
Those questions are hard, but I feel like you usually give it like a good guess. Like you
sometimes
work it
I
through.
even get them. So no, that's a fair question. I just that's a tough one. Lawrence, how many home runs did Lawrence Butler hit last year total?
Oh, that's a good question. I don't
Probably
know.
not that many more.
Well, he got a big payday from it apparently. So
yeah, those 2-3 home run games were big for him.
He hit 22 in how many games
22.
did he play last year?
Not
He
bad.
played in 125 games.
Well, he may hit more than 22 this year because he's playing in the minor league stadium.
Which, by the way, they have shots and like video from the new MLB The Show, and they have the video from the minor league stadium, and it looks because in the game, Chris, sometimes you get to like work your way up from the minor leagues to the major leagues, and you play in these really bad stadiums, and it looks exactly like one of those really bad stadiums. It's so funny that the A's are playing there. It's so funny. There's like nothing in the outfield. Nothing.
No, the ball just, if you hit a home run, it just bounces into the abyss.
It does. There's like the wind isn't going to do anything because there's nothing to knock the wind down or contain the wind. It's going to be kind of interesting, I think.
You know what was interesting? A story I saw yesterday. Did you see, and I kind of like when stuff like this happens. Did you see the story about the Texas Rangers and their hat?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Go ahead.
Did you talk about it yesterday?
We did not, no.
For those who don't know, baseball and everybody else, let's be honest, everybody else is all about not just making money, but making more money than is even necessary, right?
Yeah.
I mean, baseball already is a license to print money. The owners all make tons and tons of money. Major League Properties has got to be one of the richest, things ever. But they keep coming up with new ideas and new inventions to make more money. So somebody thought it'd be really cool to make a hat, a baseball hat, that not only has the team's hat logo on it, and have you seen these hats, by the way, Scrape? They look absolutely horrible.
Yeah, there's a lot going on them.
But you get the hat with the team logo on it.
Yep.
And then behind that is the secondary logo that's like on their jersey.
Yeah.
So in the case of the Padres, if you bought a Padre hat in this style, you'd have the interlocking SD, but it would also, you'd have the Padres that is written across their chest on their jerseys would be on the hat. And it's way too much to look at.
Yes, it is.
At least it is to me. I'm sure,
there's a lot going on with these hats.
Right. I'm sure that a lot of people are paying the $50 to buy them because they're new and somebody wants them. Anyway, it turns out that when the Texas Rangers hat came out, the hat on the Texas Rangers is a block letter T.
Yeah.
But the wording on their jersey that they put behind that is simply Texas. Texas.
Yes. How are you going to explain this? Because I don't know that we can actually say the word. Can we?
I'm not going to say the word. But with the hat, instead of it looking like Texas, it now looks like a new word, which is spelled Tetas. And that apparently is a very derogatory word.
Yeah.
In the Spanish language.
Apparently so.
Yeah. So if you bought a Texas Ranger hat and it was delivered and you didn't really think about it, you'd pull it out of the box and it would say what is basically a Spanish vulgarity on it.
It's
So-
a body part, and
Right.
it's on a woman. So
Right. So, well, you may be able to guess what it refers to with the spelling of the word, but
yeah.
anyway, baseball they pulled these off the shelves. They're gone. You can't get one now, which I think would, correct me if I'm wrong, Scraby, but if you already ordered one of these like a month ago or 2 weeks ago, you might have an incredible collector's item because they're obviously not going to make any more of them.
Yeah, that is true. I think when people saw it and they knew the meaning, they immediately scooped it up because they thought it was great. I saw one guy who ordered a couple so that he could maybe sell them one day, which I'm not going to think you could sell them one day. But here's my thing. I make a lot of mistakes, Chris. I don't understand how a mistake this magnitude is made. This is a massive mistake. No one looks at that and says, even if you don't know the word, no one looks at it and says, we should probably make sure this doesn't spell anything else because it is spelling another word. No one looks at that. I don't get it.
It's an incredible mistake. I mean, it's not just an oversight. It's a fireable offense, honestly.
It has to be. You just wasted so much money. You've already made the hats. You have to pull them off the shelves. I say just keep selling them. Who cares?
Well, I care.
I knew you were going to say that.
I mean, are you going to start selling hats that spell out F blank CK?
Well, no.
All right.
Not
well,
like that.
Okay, then why is this okay?
It's not. I'm just being careless with my thoughts right now.
All right. Anyway, I just thought it was kind of interesting that something like this could get through.
Yeah, I remember the Padres hat had something on it that wasn't cool either. Not this recent one, but you can go look that up if you want to. Before you leave, Chris, I would like to ask you about one thing. Tiger Woods has announced that he had Achilles tendon surgery today because he ruptured it once again. Is this the end?
Well, first, okay, are we assuming that he ruptured his Achilles tendon as a result of leftover injury from that car crash?
I am not assuming anything. It literally was announced maybe like an hour ago.
Right. So, I mean, because otherwise I wouldn't know how he would rupture his Achilles tendon. But anyway, it's not easy to do that.
Here's what he said. As I began to ramp up my training and practice at home, I felt a sharp pain in my left Achilles, which was deemed to be ruptured. This morning, the doctor performed a minimally invasive Achilles tendon repair for the ruptured tendon. The surgery went smoothly. He's expected for a full recovery. He's back home. Plan to focus on recovery and rehab.
All right. To answer your question, he's 49 years old.
Yeah.
I mean, this is going to be a little mean. I hate to tell you.
Okay.
Because I discovered Tiger Woods. You know that.
Yes, I know.
Told the story way too many times. But wasn't it already the end for him like 3 years ago?
I've been
like
saying
really,
this for a
he's
long
not
time.
even playing anymore, Scrabe. I mean, he's put this stupid TGL thing together and he can't even win that.
He didn't even make the playoffs in his team.
Right, whatever that happened. Yeah. So I honestly, maybe this is a sign to Tiger himself that it's just time to, find something different to do. I feel bad for him. He's one of the, well, I don't feel bad for him in a lot of ways. He created a lot of the mess that he has, but nobody deserves to roll their car over and almost die. I mean,
no, that was crazy.
So that I wouldn't wish that. But the Tiger Woods star has fallen and crashed long ago, and I don't think it's ever going to be able to be reassembled. I really don't. So if you don't think the end had already happened, then I would think this has got to be it.
I don't know what he's going to do. I kind of worry about him as he gets older, just in this fact that he's had a lot of injuries in his life and he's going to be in a ton of pain the more he goes into life. I know people in my family that have had tons of injuries and they are in extreme pain. And he has got back problems. He's got a compound fracture repair in his leg. He's got a couple ruptured Achilles tendon. He's got an ACL thing. There's a lot going on.
Yeah, I don't know that we're ever going to see him golfing again, and that's a shame, but I just think that's kind of the way it's going to have to be.
Yep.
All right, real quick, I do have to head over, but we have a lot of stuff that we've already done, so you're going to hear a lot from me on the show. Big Five, we got a Padre Pen Pals coming up. We have an NFL free agency frenzy. We also have Tony Gwynn Jr. getting on the show, when the baseball's over.
Yep.
In the meantime, Scraby will carry the day. Stick around. Much more Gwynn and Chris ahead on 97.3 The Fan.
Now Sheets as well. And Sheets hits that one in the air, straightaway center field and deep. Did he do it again? Unbelievable! 4 straight days with a home run for Gavin Sheets. This one off the batter's eye against his old team, and the Padres ahead for the first time today. It's 5-4.
There you go. Gavin Sheets going yard for the 4th time in the past 4 games. It's a pretty good time for him to actually, turn it up, because the roster is going to be formed here pretty soon, and they are looking for that last bench spot. Gavin Sheets going yard 4 straight days. I'm Matt Scraby. This is Gwynn and Chris, 97.3 The Fan. Tony Gwynn Jr. will join us after that game is over. Chris Ello is off to Aztecs women's basketball. But like he said before he left, that we have a ton of stuff going forward for you all. And actually, I think I finally figured out, if you're a YouTube watcher, and if you don't know, you can watch us on YouTube. Just search 97.3 The Fan on YouTube, and you can find the show and all of the shows. But if you are a YouTube watcher, I'm going to try and use the video that we did as well, because it's not been easy. So I'm trying to, make each audience happy, the people in the car and the people on the YouTube. So we're doing things over here on Gwynn and Chris. The one thing I want to remind you before, because we don't really have anything in the Daily Gambit, and that would be that we have the bracket sign up. The March Madness bracket sign up is going on right now. If you go to 973thefansd.com, you need to go and click the sign up link. It's also on Twitter, 973thefansd. All you need to do is click the link that says that it will send you into signing up for the bracket challenge. And then there's a form on there. You have to fill out the form. There's no prize involved, nothing like that, because it would make it so that we can't do this due to legality and all that. But since there's no prize involved, we can have as many people play and as many people sign up as we want. And the reason we're asking for your info is because we did this for the Eliminator Challenge, and it was hard to get in contact with the winner. So we want to make sure that we can get in contact with everybody. But again, go to 973thefansd.com. You'll see the blog post. You'll also see a link on 973 The Fan SD on Twitter as well. Dylan Cease started today for the Padres against the White Sox, and it didn't go great. But as we said earlier, Dylan Cease is working on something, and he's working on a few pitches. And this was just actually added to our Twitter feed, and it's Dylan Cease talking to the media after his start today. Now, he's going to give his thoughts on his 2-seam fastball he's working on, also his new changeup, and I guess someone's going to ask him about the trade that brought him to San Diego almost a year ago today. But Dylan Cease, so far through spring training, if you're looking for good numbers, you're not really going to find amazing numbers. But he told us at FanFest that he was working on some new pitches, and he's going to continue working on those pitches to the point where he can be comfortable throwing them in a real live regular season game. And so that's why I'm not too worried about the numbers from Dylan Cease. He's going to figure it out every year. Dylan Cease, we know what he's going to give us. And Dylan Cease last year, up and down, we know that, but it was still, for the most part, very good. And I think all of us will take Dylan Cease, even if his spring numbers aren't very good. But throughout his career, he has a 3.75 ERA, which he was 3.47 last year. And he has a strikeout per 9 at 10.8. So that's what we're going to get from Dylan Cease. We're going to get strikeouts, and sometimes he's going to give up some runs. So Dylan Cease, I'm not too worried about his numbers, but here is what he told the media after his start today.
Imagine there's aspects you're pleased of, like coming back and getting your work done.
Yeah, got my pitches in, through everything, came back from some adversity. It's good. Part of spring training, really, to be honest.
Forgive me for not knowing.
Yeah.
The 2-seamer today.
Yeah.
How'd it go?
It was good. They didn't have a lot of righties in there, so I only threw it a couple of times, but I got a foul ball and I think maybe a take on it. Didn't throw it a whole lot, but yeah, it's been good.
About what you expect during the season, too. I mean, it's like a pitch to show them It's
going to be used more to righty. It's not really going to be used to lefty. So, yeah.
But you might throw it a lot if they're righty heavy. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, and it also depends how they're seeing it and how they're playing. It's played well in spring so far, but just have to keep an eye on it.
What about the newer changeup?
Yeah, it's I'm doing a pretty good job throwing it for strikes. Today I left it up a little bit, but when I'm in the zone with it, it's pretty good. Definitely helps out against lefties.
That's the last pitch to Gallo, right?
Change it. Yep.
Was that where you wanted it?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, it was a little up, but I got it outer half, which is really what the most important part for me.
It's been almost a year now since that trade. How do you, with the year of hindsight, how do you kind of reflect on it?
I mean, I don't really think about it anymore. I'm just focused on what I'm doing here. Every year I gotta get back into shape and back into form. So that's really my focus is that more than anything.
There's Dylan Cease. Now, it doesn't seem like it just seems like he's having a conversation with a friend, getting home from work or something like that. But I also wonder because AJ Cassavell's question at the end about his trade to San Diego a year later, I think it's a good question, but I wonder if players ever get annoyed that we ask those questions. Because, I mean, we want to know, and I didn't expect Dylan Cease to give some huge, profound answer about it, but I think it's interesting. I mean, his whole life was turned upside down about a year ago for a good thing. I mean, he was with the White Sox, about to embark on what turned out to be an incredibly terrible season for the White Sox, and then he's all of a sudden traded to the Padres, and he's got to get his passport, and now he's going to Korea. I mean, that's a kind of a crazy thing. And I think Dylan Cease's personality, as you can see there, he doesn't get too high, and it doesn't seem like he gets too low either. So that was the perfect personality for it. I think last year when he got traded to the Padres, he didn't know where his passport was, and he has to he didn't know where his passport was, so he had to go back. He had to find it, and he ended up finding it, but he said it was extremely stressful for Dylan Cease, which I completely understand. But with all the trade talk going around, this is something we also asked him at FanFest, which was, hey, how is it to pitch with all the different trade rumors swirling around your name and get ready for a season with all of this? And he says, it's part of the business, but he really wants to be here. And I really want him to stay here, and I really want to see this changeup work out. Now, I think it's called like an arm speed changeup because everybody is now naming their pitches something different, but it's an arm speed changeup. I guess he had what they called a Bugs Bunny changeup, which was like one of the slowest pitches in Major League Baseball. But this new changeup is around, low 80s. It's more of a traditional changeup, and it's something different from Dylan Cease. So if he could get that working, it's going to open up a lot for Dylan Cease, and he's never really been a changeup guy. It was Dylan Cease. He threw like one changeup in his career coming into to the last season, and we asked him about it, and he absolutely remembered that one changeup, and he said it was basically because the time was running out, and he just threw a pitch, and it registered as a changeup. But anyway, Dylan Cease starts today. Didn't have the greatest day on the mound, but he's still working on stuff. Right now, the game, bottom of the seventh, 5-5 Padres and White Sox. Now, Gavin Sheets, with his fourth homer in 4 days, he's really putting his best foot forward into getting a roster spot. I clicked on the highlight on Twitter of Gavin Sheets getting or hitting his fourth home run, and I saw all the comments. And what I don't understand is why sometimes fans tell me that I'm wrong, I'm off base, which is fine. I don't care if you tell me I'm wrong and off base as long as you're respectful about it. But they tell me they're wrong and off base, but then you have all the fans going, oh, he's on the team. Give this guy a roster spot. Did anybody think that when he was hitting 190 throughout spring training? And I'm not trying to come down on anyone, but just because he hits 4 home runs doesn't make him a guy who's going to automatically make the roster. Gavin Sheets is his batting average is up to 242 now. So he's starting to hit, but he didn't hit for the first 2 weeks of spring training. Yeah, four homers in 4 days is quite impressive, I have to say. But it's not exactly going to erase everything that has happened so far in spring training. Now, can he make the roster? Yeah, he absolutely can make the roster. And with 4 home runs in the last 4 days, that definitely helps. But up until he started hitting these home runs, he was hitting 125 after the game against the Rangers on March 6th. 125 with an OPS of 368. Now, his average is up to 242, and his OPS is up to 667. But I don't know that these 4 home runs are going to be enough to put him on the roster right at this moment. But it certainly doesn't hurt at all. I really think that they're going to... I really think, I haven't done my roster projection because that's kind of Chris's job on the show. But if Gavin Sheets keeps it up, and no, he's not going to hit 7 home runs in the next 7 days or 8 home runs in the next 8 days. If he keeps it up, he's going to make the coaching staff have a long conversation about him on the roster. And if he keeps it up, that's a DH right there. And then you have other questions like, where is Luis Arraez going to play? And I want to play you a little bit later. I think actually at 4 p.m. I'm going to play you what Mike Schultz said about Jake Cronenworth playing first, which then adds a whole nother series of questions. But these questions are all good questions because it's not like we're talking about trying to find someone. They're trying to find the right. They're trying to get the right formula, and they already have all the pieces that they need. So it's a good problem to have, but we're going to have to see how guys like Gavin Sheets and Ornelas and Eggy Rosario, how they finish, Oscar Gonzalez, how they finish, because it's going to make a difficult decision for coaching staff and the front office and all of that. All right. I'm Matt Scraby. This is Gwynn and Chris. Chris will be back here shortly. I was trying to see what time it was. It's 3:13, everybody, if you're wondering. But when we get back, Chris is going to rejoin me. We also have Padres pen pals at the end of the hour. But Chris was very excited about NFL news, and he was very excited to basically give me a hard time about how my 49ers have basically gutted the entire team. So you'll hear that when we get back here on 97.3 The Fan. Traffic a little bit later in the commercial break.
I don't know why, but of all of the
this is kind of
little
awkward.
intro
My video
music
did not
beds
work
that
out
Scraby
as I
plays,
wanted it to. So
I find this
here
one
we go.
to be
I'm going to have to do something
quite
else.
relaxed.
But this is all stuff that we're trying to get done for the season. We're trying to make sure it all works out. This is Gwynn and Chris, by the way, everybody. Matt Scraby here with you, and we are going to get to this NFL talk just shortly as I figure out what I need to do, which I know this is not the greatest thing in the world, but hey, it's what we got, so we're going to go with it. In the meantime, I do think that the 49ers are falling apart. They are absolutely falling apart. There is a lot going on with them. There's a lot going on with all teams, but the 49ers not making any friends with their fans here so far in spring training. See, I got too many things going on in my head at the same time. I'm saying spring training along with the offseason and all that stuff. But here we go. I'm going to try to make this work. This is not my finest moment, but it's the best I could do. So here is the segment that we did earlier.
I don't know why, but of all of the little intro music beds that Scraby plays, I find this one to be quite relaxing.
It's a new one. It's
turn it up a little bit, Scraby. Yeah.
It's actually
doesn't it sound like you're kind of relaxing on a beach somewhere and just the sun setting. And
I can actually, this is a song by Gangstar. I used to be really into, this is going to be random, Chris. I used to be really into snowboarding videos with my friends. We would watch all the snowboarding videos.
Yes, that's
and this song was in it, and so I downloaded like basically every Gangstar out there.
That's a good song. It's a good song. It's very relaxing. It doesn't necessarily get us ready for this segment because this is going to be a hard-hitting segment, one in which Matt Scraby will be incredibly defensive. So I just want to warn you about that.
You have no
going
idea
in.
what I'm going to be like.
Yeah, I don't, but I have a feel. Well, let's put it this way. You may not be defensive, but you're going to be loud one way or another. Because,
loud is okay. Yeah, that's fair.
Right, because we are going to talk here for the next few minutes about everything that's happened in NFL free agency. And it has been wild for the first, how many hours, Scrape? 48 hours?
It's been crazy. There's been so much
it hasn't been very long. We could just regurgitate all of the moves that have been made.
No one wants that.
Yeah, exactly. That would just take up the entire segment. I mean, there have already been 25 players at least, maybe more.
I listed them yesterday, so we're good.
Right. We don't need to do that. But the one thing that is standing out to me above all else in free agency, maybe not more, the quarterbacks is a big deal. You know, you see Darnold go here and Daniel Jones, we'll talk about him later, going to Indianapolis today. And the Darnold thing is crazy to me. He's making $30 million, and everybody says he's an idiot because he should have held out for a lot more.
No, I think he's smart.
I don't know. $30 million, I'm okay
a lot of
with
money.
that if I'm Darnold.
Yeah.
But yeah, you got the quarterbacks moving around here and there. But the biggest deal to me, Scraby, maybe it's because I work with you, is the fact that the 49ers roster has been completely purged. There is hardly anyone left. I mean, when Brock Purdy, well, first of all, who's he going to even take the ball from?
No one knows.
When they hike it.
No one knows.
And then he's going to hand it to Christian McCaffrey, who's going to be immediately tackled 9 yards behind the line because there is no line.
No, you know what? Christian McCaffrey's going to play center. Is going to be like flag football where he has to count 5.
Center eligible?
Yeah, center
eligible. Yeah, Christian will center it and he'll go out. The 49ers have been completely purged. I did see somebody today say, an NFL insider on TV, and maybe they were just trying to, give a different take on it. They were saying, this is a really good, smart thing that really good, strong organizations do. They get rid of guys before their time is up. They don't spend a lot of extra money on guys.
That's the truth.
And they retool their roster with all the extra money they save. But having said that, I don't see how the 49ers as of March the 11th can be possibly any better than what they were was last year, which was a last place team. I mean, you can't get rid of Hufanga. and Greenlaw.
Well, here's the thing. Here's the thing.
Okay, go.
Hufanga hurt when he went to the Broncos. But Hufanga hasn't played much the last 2 years. He's been very injured. But when he's in there, he's great. Now, Dre Greenlaw going to the Broncos hit me right in the heart. And I read it in passing on the air yesterday, and it hit me in the heart, Chris. I was like, no. But I also been reading a lot from San Francisco media, and Dre Greenlaw is coming off a major injury, and then he tried to come back a little bit too early. Maybe it's not the worst thing in the world that they're letting him go explore other places. But I think whoever said that, Chris, about strong organizations doing this, they're right. And I'm not saying the 49ers are a strong organization, but you have to get out of these contracts and you have to turn your back on guys before they're not good anymore, because then you're stuck. And as much as the 49ers look like they are doing nothing and they're just going to be a 1-16 team next year, I trust John Lynch and I trust Kyle Shanahan. It's just a lot to handle right now. I mean, Javon Hargrave is also gone. There's just so many guys. 11 of the 22 starters from the Super Bowl 2 years ago are no longer on the team, Chris. 2 years ago.
Yeah, but that is this day and age in football. I'm sorry. I mean, I'll tell you, the guy who said it was Ian Rappaport. And I actually think he's pretty close to being right as well. You have to take these kinds of hits in free agency in order to keep your team strong. Because there's only a certain amount of money you have to spend. And especially when you have a Super Bowl team, guys become too expensive.
That's true. That is true.
So, look, the 49ers are going to still have, some great players, and I'm sure they'll do. But the sticker shock of losing Hufanga and Greenlaw and Debo and Hargrave and Juszczyk.
Oh, Juszczyk is another one, Chris. He's been on the team forever. Juszczyk is he's like the soul of the 49ers.
Well, I mean, you got Aaron Banks, you got Moore, you got Ward. I
forgot about Charvarius Ward. Chris, I can't do this anymore.
I told you.
The entire defense is gutted. And they're going after Joey Bosa. No! Why?
The entire defense has been gutted.
Why are you going after Joey Bosa? He's going to play 6 games this year.
I just want to tell you something, that when we get around to August, I'm going to remember what you said, because I will pick the 49ers last. And I will cite your quote as my reason for picking them last, that the entire defense has been gutted.
It's Fred Warner. I mean, they got a couple guys like Mustafa, who's a second-year guy, but I mean, this has been a hard couple days as a 49er fan to see all of the mainstays that have been with you for a while get dropped to the curb.
Well, this is the state of sports in this day and age. You're not going to keep teams together forever.
Yeah,
and that just look, the Chiefs are losing guys right and left. They're doing a good job of replacing them.
Yep.
The Eagles have already lost, I think, 5 starters from the Super Bowl defense themselves.
Yeah.
Right?
They've lost a couple, yeah.
Yeah, these guys haven't even got their ring sized yet, and they're already, on other teams. So, this is the way it goes, and it all depends on which teams come together the quickest. And the funny thing is, again, writers who cover the NFL, people who talk about the NFL, I think they overreact to free agent signings, and they always look at the team that spent the most money as the team that's going to be the most improved. And you know what? It hardly ever happens. It hardly ever happens. You know what teams stay good in the NFL year after year, Scraby?
Who's that? What's
the teams that have franchise quarterbacks.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
They stay good year after year.
Yeah.
The other teams just keep trading all of these free agents to each other and remain below the top level.
Yeah.
That's all that happens. I mean, I can use the Dolphins as an example because I know them the best, but look, they let Javon Holland go, who's a pretty good safety, and then they get Melifonwu from Detroit, who's a pretty good safety.
Excuse me, did you just sneeze?
Melifonwu, you know that guy?
Yes, I do.
It's a tough name, but yes, I do. Gesundheit. But you know what I mean? So they lose a free agent, they get a free agent. They're pretty much the same team before and after the move. And so, look, you keep your star players. They're going to keep you afloat, and you fill in with the rest. But the 49ers, this might be too much to overcome, for them, at least for a year or so. This is a lot.
They better hit on the draft. That's all I gotta say. They better hit on the draft.
But even if you hit on the draft, how many draft guys come in and make that big of a difference right away?
2 or 3.
Yeah.
I want to ask you about this. Najee Harris went from the Steelers to the Chargers reportedly, but this is what surprised me. He signed for a 1 year, $9.5 million, and I feel like this is extremely risky for him because he's a running back, and running backs get hurt. Najee Harris is a durable guy, but I find this a little interesting.
Yeah, I'm surprised he didn't get a multi-year offer somewhere, and it would seem to me it'd be smarter to take the multi-year offer. However, none of the contracts in the NFL are guaranteed anyway, are they?
Unless they give you the guaranteed
Unless
money.
they give you some guaranteed money up front. So if you sign a 3-year deal at $7 million a year, you may get cut after the first year and only make $7 million.
That's
So
true.
maybe he's thinking, I'll make the $9 million in 1 year and then I'll go find another place to play.
Maybe.
I think Najee Harris is a really good signing for the Chargers. I mean, I think he's a really, really good back, receiving and running. And we all know that as talented as he is, J.K. Dobbins cannot make it through a whole season.
Yeah.
So this was a very, very good signing for the Chargers, which is different than the one signing that the Dolphins made. I did want to just touch on it.
I can't remember who it was, honestly.
Zach Wilson. What are they doing? Right?
He's going to have to play because Tua can't make it through a season either.
Right. So you signed Zach Wilson. The guy was in your own division. He was so bad that when he played against you 2 years ago, the Dolphins shut the Jets out, I think, in both games. Like he couldn't even complete a pass against you. And now you're going to turn to him to give you 4 or 5 credible games, which you're going to need and replace a Tua. It's just stupidity. Just stupidity. And, this is another reason that the good franchises stay good and the bad ones stay bad.
I think it's time for me to let go of my optimism for Zach Wilson to figure it out. I think he has all the tools, Chris. He's got the arm. He's got the size. He's got the speed. I don't think he's got the makeup in the mind because obviously something is holding him back. And I'm starting to look bad that
I'll tell you what I think that's holding Zach Wilson back. It's just extreme, utter arrogance.
I see. I don't know enough about him to say that, but
I think you get guys like him who come into the league. They're the 2nd overall pick. They go to New York City, and they're told that they're the greatest thing ever to play. And when you get to the NFL, you have to work. And if you're not willing to work, then all the talent in the world is going to leave you right where Zach Wilson is, which is on the bench.
Yeah. Can't argue with that, Chris. Can't argue with that.
Anyway, the NFL free agency has been crazy. It'll continue to be, I'm sure, for the next few days. Hopefully the 49ers will be able to keep their team colors, Scraby, before they sell those off to somebody else.
They're probably going to. They're going to be some shade of red that's named after some company that's sponsoring it.
Scraby's upset, and we love it.
It's been a long couple days for the 49er fans.
I hear you, man. I get it. I totally get it. All right. Well,
I think you're enjoying it a little too much, though.
I sound too happy?
Yeah, it's okay, though.
Okay,
I understand
if I sound happy, what was your reaction when I reminded you that Zach Wilson signed with the Dolphins?
I laughed.
You seem pretty happy about that as well.
I laughed.
Yes, you did. All right, we get to the bottom of the hour. We'll take a break here. Much more Gwynn and Chris.
What are we doing, guys?
I'm going to see the museum for the first time ever. It's going to be sweet. See my dad's plaque. See where Trevor's plaque is going to be. It's going to be pretty dope.
Chris, I'm going to go to the Hall of Fame for the second time because I went earlier today, but I'm going in to see Tony go into the Hall of Fame. So all the way straight back left.
Straight back left.
Straight around that back wall.
This one?
Yeah.
How you feeling, Tony?
I don't know how I'm feeling right now, honestly.
Excited?
I'm definitely excited. Hello, Eric. How you doing? Pretty good.
Wow. Just like I told you, next to the famous Barney Dreyfus and Leslie Wilkinson, whoever they are.
That does look like them.
I know. It's a good shot. They don't do them all that great. That one's good. Really good.
I missed a year. 300. Must have been bad. Huh? I used to be. Not anymore, though.
Oh, it's so cool. What team did you play on?
I can give you a long list of them. Heyward, Padres, Dodgers, Phillies, Nationals.
What position did you play?
I played outfield. This was my dad. Oh, there's Dick Williams, Goose. I think he'd be pretty happy with his company over there. So.
What are you thinking to see it for the first time?
I'm thinking that
hot. I'm quite warm right now, but it's cool. I mean, it's what I thought it was going to be. I mean, who not too many people can say they have a dad that's enshrined in this place. So I think this is awesome.
What are we doing, guys?
I'm going to see the museum for the first time ever. It's going to be sweet. See my dad's plaque. See where Trevor's plaque is going to be. It's going to be pretty dope.
Chris,
I'm going to go to the Hall of Fame for the second time because I went earlier today, but I'm going in to see Tony go into the Hall of Fame. So all the way straight and back left.
Straight back left.
Straight around that back wall.
This one?
Yeah.
How you feeling, Tony?
I don't know how I'm feeling right now, honestly.
Excited?
I'm definitely excited. Hello, Eric. How you doing? Pretty good.
Wow. Just like I told you, next to the famous Barney Dreyfus and Leslie Wilkinson, whoever they are.
That does look like them.
I know. It's a good shot. They don't do them all that great. That one's good. Really good.
I missed a year. 300. Must have been bad. Huh? I used to be. Not anymore, though.
Oh, it's so cool. What team did you play on?
I can give you a long list of them. Heyward, Padres, Dodgers, Phillies, Nationals.
What position did you play?
I played outfield. This was my dad. Oh, there's Dick Williams, Goose. I think he'd be pretty happy with his company over there. So.
What are you thinking to see it for the first time?
I'm thinking that
hot. I'm quite warm right now, but it's cool. I mean, it's what I thought it was going to be. I mean, who not too many people can say they have a dad that's enshrined in this place. So I think this is awesome.
One of the videos that I show during the commercial breaks in YouTube is a video that we made years ago. I'm not sure if we talked about this yesterday. I don't think we talked about this specific video, but it was of Tony seeing his dad's plaque in Cooperstown for the first time in his life. That was the first time he was able to make it back to Cooperstown. And, you know, it leaves us all with a little bit of dust in our eyes as we watch the video. And there's one cool part where these kids come up to him and he's kind of looking at it and they're like, "Oh, is that your dad?" And he's like, "Yep, that's my dad." And it was a pretty fun trip, I have to say. Didn't expect to have it happen, but it was a fun trip. Got to meet Ricky Henderson during that trip, so that was fun too, even though Ricky turned me down for an interview, and then Tony's mom told him he would be doing the interview because she was sitting with him. I had no idea that it was Tony's mom, but it's a hilarious story. I walk up to him and I say, "Hey, my radio show is here. Tony Gwynn Jr. is downstairs. Do you want to do an interview?" And he's sitting with two other women, Ricky Henderson. And I didn't know who they were. I assumed one of them was his wife, and it was. And so he goes, "Oh, what show are you with?" I'm like, "Gwynn and Chris." And then Tony's mom looks up and says, "Oh, you're going to go on my son's show." And the wife looks at Ricky Henderson and says, "You're going to go on her son's show." And then he kind of looked at me like, fine. Got up and walked down. It was hilarious. It was really fun, but that was the one time I got to meet Ricky Henderson from Cooperstown. All right. We have a Padres pen pals ahead. And we also have traffic. So if you're waiting for the traffic report, here it is, and then Padres pen pals.
From the 855 Get Ross Traffic Center, protecting San Diego after accidents or injury, here's Kelly Danek.
Traffic is brought to you by Mosley Wealth Management. Well, guys, it's a very messy ride, and we've got numerous accidents. Apologies in advance if I don't get to your freeway. There's just way too much going on. Vehicle at the embankment, southbound 15 to the northbound 5 connector ramp. Also, northbound 805 at the 8 transition, there's a vehicle facing the wrong way in the center divide. East 8 past Sunset Cliffs. Crash over the right shoulder, but fire crew's got that right lane blocked. We've also got a collision on West 8 before El Cajon Boulevard. That's over to the right shoulder. In the North County, northbound 15 before Via Rancho Parkway, vehicle hit the center divide. Been seeing a lot of that this afternoon. Two vehicle crash up ahead, North 15 right at the East 78 connector. It's over to the right shoulder. Also traveling on southbound 15 past Auto Park Way. Car hit the center divide. Another crash up ahead past Camino del Norte. This vehicle went up over the right shoulder embankment. How much do you have for retirement in your tax-deferred accounts? Whether it's $100,000 or several million, you'll pay real taxes when you need it. Go to easemytaxbill.com and find out how much money you really have and how much you may save if you're smart. easemytaxbill.com. I'm Kelly Danek with Gwynn and Chris, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
It's time to ask the experts, Padres fans.
I was hoping maybe you can bring a little insight into it.
Write us, tweet us, Facebook us, send a carrier pigeon for Chris. He thinks they're cute.
Aww.
Padres Pen Pals begins.
Hurt the pelota big time.
Now on 97.3 The Fan.
You know what's kind of unfortunate, Chris, is I used the carrier pigeon joke on one of my friends the other day, and they didn't understand it. They literally didn't understand it. I'm like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, I barely understand it, frankly. I mean, I know you think that I was there for the carrier pigeons, but I really wasn't. But for those who don't understand, they honestly used to tie secret notes to the legs of pigeons.
Yes.
In wartime.
Yes.
And send these pigeons off into sailing off into the distance to deliver messages with the notes tied to their I don't know how
to their feet.
Who trained the pigeons?
The pigeon trainers that the military hired to train the pigeons.
Yeah, that's incredible that there was actually somebody who could say, okay, fly from Berlin to Munich. I mean, that's a long flight.
It is.
Come on.
You know what? I need to do some more research on carrier pigeons.
Do a little research and come back.
The carrier pigeons, I don't know if they got some sort of award for their wartime service, but honestly, they deserve it because they helped us a lot during the war.
Sounds like they deserve it, yes.
All right.
So I take it as a great compliment.
Yes.
When you say that I know about carrier pigeons.
I lost my mind, though. My friend was like, what does that mean?
Yeah.
What do you mean? What does it mean? It's a common knowledge thing. Okay. If you love Mediterranean food, try Spiros for authentic Mediterranean cuisine in Coronado or La Jolla. For dining or takeout options, visit spiroscuisine.com. Here is number 1 on the Padres Pen Pals. Chris, you're up first. I am not blaming the San Diego media for this, but it seems like anytime a team is in need of starting pitching, the national media offers up all the Padres that I want to keep. It's annoying, and I'm really tired of the national media trying to sell off the Padres at any point. So, Chris, does it anger you the Padres keep coming up as the trade partner?
No, it's the exact opposite, people. Come on. I mean, nobody's offering up any trade partners from the, the Colorado Rockies or the, some of these other squads out there.
The White Sox.
Cardinals.
Well, no, the White Sox have some good players.
Yeah, right. You know what I mean? No, and Padres have good pitchers, and the Padres are. Look, understand what you don't want to understand if you're asking this question. And what you don't want to understand is that no matter what anybody says, the Padres are a, quote, smaller market team. And also understand that the Padres have a higher than most teams' salary.
Mm-hmm.
Padres are what? 6th or 7th in salary last year, Scrape? They're way up there.
They might even be in the top 5.
Might have been higher, right? So when you've got small market team plus large salaries, which the Padres have, those players are the first ones that media people who, don't forget, have to write something.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Like when the Yankees lose Garrett Cole, which they did.
Yeah.
Everybody's got to look around baseball and go, okay, who are the big bad Yankees going to go out and steal from some other team? The Padres are a perfect team for writers to, hone in on.
Bully.
Yeah, well, yeah, they're not bullying us. I mean, look, you think AJ Preller looks at these articles and goes, "Oh, wow,
No.
They think I should trade Dylan Cease. I better hurry up and try to trade him."
I actually think they see this news and they all laugh about it together because of how far off base it is.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's the thing. So I would take it honestly as a compliment. Really, the Padres have really good pitchers, Michael King, Dylan Cease, that are young. They make some money. And, maybe they make a little too much money for what people think the Padres can afford. And basically, that's a compliment to the Padres organization that they have these players.
Yep, I agree. Does it make me angry? No, it's annoying. Yes, very annoying. But Chris said it right. I mean, they could either talk about your team or not talk about your team. And everybody wants to talk about the Padres. And so that's kind of fun. I understand in the context of trading away superstars, it's not as fun. But like Chris said, people want your player, and you should be happy about that. So
remember my old saying, Scraby.
Water finds its level?
No, that's you know what? I've thrown that one away for a while. Ever since
because water never found its level.
No, that 2023 season, that never happened. No, one of my old favorite sayings about people who hated the Dallas Cowboys and people who hate your 49ers and people who hate the Yankees. Nobody hates the Falcons. That was my old saying.
That's true.
And the reason is because the Falcons aren't worth hating.
Sorry, Adam.
They
aren't worth hating at all. All right. So, man, that pencil's really loud that time.
Yeah.
I've heard Luis Arraez say this offseason he doesn't just want a DH. He wants to play defense as well. With the signing of Jose Iglesias, it looks like Arraez may be the first man out of a defensive position. He seems like a guy who needs to play both sides to really bring out the best in him. I'm up first. How do the Padres keep Arraez happy during the season? Now, I'm assuming this person thinks that Jake Cronenworth is going to go to first and then Jose Iglesias is going to be at second. But I heard Mike Schultz say earlier in the day, and we played the audio, that Jake Cronenworth is not going to play much first base this year. So I don't know what to think, but how do they keep Luis Arraez happy? Just keep him in the lineup, do what you can defensively, see if he, ask him, do you want to play more? Do you want to play less? Just cater to him. That's how you make Luis Arraez happy. Chris?
Well, here's, people that are asking this question are assuming that Jose Iglesias is not only going to be the starter on opening day, but that he's going to play 162 games this year.
He only played 85 last year, I believe.
Right. And that Jake Cronenworth is going to play 162 games at first base, which means Arraez is going to be the DH full time. That's just not going to happen. It's just not going to happen. There's nothing wrong with having Jose Iglesias on this team. He can come in the 5th or 6th inning, 7th inning of close games and play defense, and you can move Cronenworth to first late in the ball game and have a better defensive lineup. But for the most part, Arraez is going to play first base. He's going to start. The other thing, especially against right-handed pitching, Iglesias is a right-handed hitter. I don't think they'll use him as much against righties. I think that Iglesias will be more of a platoon-type player in a starting role and then a full-time defensive replacement late in games that the Padres are winning. And that leaves plenty of time for Luis Arraez to play first base. So I think this is much ado about nothing. We look at the team based on the opening day lineup, but the organization, they look at the team based on getting through 162 games. And as we saw last year and every year before that, it takes far more than the opening roster 26 players to get through a whole season.
It does. You're right. All right. That was a good one. Let's go to the next one. I'm looking at all the different predictions for the season, and mostly the National League West is predicted to finish like this: Dodgers, Diamondbacks, Padres, Giants, and Rockies. Some have the Giants finishing in third place. So, Chris, do you think the Giants are a better team than the Padres right now?
No, but that doesn't mean they can't finish ahead of them. I mean, they can, right? The only team that, can't finish ahead of anybody we know is the Rockies. The Giants could certainly beat out the Padres in a perfect season. They could win 85 games and the Padres could win 84. But the reason that the Diamondbacks are picked ahead of the Padres is only one reason. And that is that the Diamondbacks signed Corbin Burns. The Diamondbacks brought in Josh Naylor, which I actually think is a downgrade from losing Christian Walker. But the Diamondbacks spent and changed their roster some in the offseason where the Padres didn't do anything dramatic. And people like to look at last season and then add to last season whatever happened in the offseason and make their predictions based on that. I think the Padres are just as good, if not better, than the Diamondbacks. I don't think the addition of Corbin Burns has changed that necessarily. It could. Corbin Burns could be that guy. But I think the better way to look at this division is Dodgers on top. You have to pick them. You'd be silly not to. But Diamondbacks, Padres are 50-50 to me for second place with the Giants and the Rockies. And the Giants could certainly be in the second or third discussion if, Robbie Ray stays healthy all year and, they get some production from some of these young outfielders that they're bringing up. The Giants they got a Willie Adames now to stabilize shortstop, but,
What about old man Verlander?
Yeah. I should mention Verlander, but I wouldn't expect Verlander to do more than 12 wins this season, honestly. So,
yeah,
I don't think that changes the dynamic for the Giants that much.
I think that the Padres and the Giants I think the Padres are better, and the reason is they have more stars, and there's a lot of more question marks for the Giants. I mean, you got Manny Machado, Fernando Tatis Jr., Dylan Cease, Michael King, all these guys. We can name guys on the Giants. Logan Webb, you said Robbie Ray, Willie Adames. That's about it for me right now. I mean, the Giants have a bunch of guys that still need to prove themselves. The Padres have guys that we know what they can do. And this is Buster Posey's first year. I think that he's just looking to have a competitive season and then go a little bit harder in the paint next offseason. But I think the Padres can beat the Giants in the division for sure.
I don't think they can. I think they should. I really don't think there's much question. Like I said, Willie Adames is really the only major addition.
Yeah.
And he's a good addition, but doesn't change much for me.
Nope. All right. Final question. Over the past 3 years, I've really loved throwing myself into Padres baseball. The community is amazing, and I love the people I've met along the way. The problem is, I don't think I know enough baseball to really talk about it with people, and I kind of just stay out of those conversations. I'm up first. How did you guys learn so much about baseball? I will be the first to admit that when I got this job, I thought I knew baseball, but I had no idea what baseball was actually about. I learned a lot in the last 7-8 years about baseball, and I learned from Tony and Chris. Those are my two guys that have taught me about baseball. My recommendation is just listen. Just listen to what people are saying. Remember that, and just keep building. I feel like I've gotten better with baseball. And it's because I've listened to Tony and Chris over the years, and also, Jesse Agler as well when you hear him on the radio. But just kind of as much as you want, dip your toe into the baseball world and just listen to people. Chris, I know how you learned so much about baseball. You played it forever.
I played it. My dad used to go over, sacrifice situations with me when I was 4 years old. No, he didn't.
Oh, I was going to say, that's kind of awesome. I didn't know that.
No, he didn't. But I don't know. I think it's just, you're beginning, whoever wrote this, you're beginning to have a love affair with the sport. And just enjoy it on the level that you're enjoying it. And as you do keep enjoying it, be a sponge. Pick up, what you can. Listen. We're lucky in San Diego, right? We have broadcasters like Jesse, like Don, Mudcat, Bob Scanlon, Tony. Of course.
We forgot him.
Well, I'm not forgetting him, but I was thinking more of the TV people for a minute there.
Yeah.
I just, look, they'll teach you a lot about the game, and the more you watch it, the more you'll appreciate it. It's funny, baseball. It's probably no different than other sports in this sense, but it seems like it is. You hear people that have watched baseball for their entire lives, 50 years old, whatever it is, and they've been watching the game, consistently. And then something will happen during the course of a season that even they didn't see coming. Or something will happen in a game that none of us have ever seen before.
Triple play to clinch a division?
Or
clinch a playoff spot, I mean.
Yeah, right. That clinched the playoff spot. But you'll see it, or you'll see a scoring play. A ball will hit off the fence. Remember the one that hit off the fence and then the back of a guy's head went over the fence and they called it a home run, and then they changed it to a double and there was a big argument. That's what I'm talking about. Baseball can give you things you've never seen before. So even though you're hanging around people who probably act like they know everything, understand that they don't know everything either.
Yeah.
And the other thing I would say to anybody that is trying to learn anything, whether it's learning how to play the piano or learning about the history of rock music or learning about baseball, ask people who know to help you. Because aren't I right, Scraby? People that know stuff love to impart their wisdom on others.
Oh, of course.
Right?
Of course. You can't tell me you can't count the number of times I've cornered people and told them all my baseball stuff.
Right. People love to hear that stuff from people they think know. So go to people who know and ask them, and then sit back and listen, and that's how you'll learn. It's the same way you learn everything.
All right.
Enjoy it.
Good. Enjoy. Good Padres pen pals, everybody. We already did Chris versus the Feds, so we are, just for today, changing it up a little bit. When we get back, Gavin Sheets was interviewed or a couple questions asked by Sammy Levitt. We'll play that and more on Gwynn and Chris 97.3 The Fan.
blame us for any side effects.
You thrilled our fans throughout the postseason with a great performance.
Gwynn and Chris are ready to go.
He represents the potential winning run here in the ninth day. Sheets hammers it again. A walk-off against his old team. His second homer of the day. And for Sheets, his fifth in the last 4 days.
This young man is dialed in. Second homer of the game. This one in walk-off fashion. Comes in late. Still gets 3 hits to go home with.
Spring training.
All right. So that is what happened out in Peoria, Arizona here just about, 10 minutes ago or so. Gavin Sheets hits his second home run of the day to walk it off against the White Sox. Yes, it's spring training. I have to say that every single time. But it is the Matt Scraby curse, I think, for me to talk about Gavin Sheets and say, oh, he's hit 4 home runs in the last four games. 4 home runs in the last 4 games. Well, then he hit his 5th in the last 4 games. And I also said, hey, this doesn't buy you a spot on the roster. He also threw someone out in the outfield. So Gavin Sheets, maybe, they were playing Gwynn and Chris in the dugout, and Gavin Sheets heard what I said about him, and he was like, I'm going to prove that Scraby wrong. I don't think he even knows who I am, to be honest. And that's the truth. But I hope that he continues to play this way. I mean, 5 home runs in the last 4 days, 4 games, and he's the hottest hitting guy in the Padres right now. It's been an incredible spring training so far. If you like competition, if you like guys fighting over roster spots, this has been a really, really good spring training for that, because Gavin Sheets is now showing himself. We had earlier Tirso, who's still right there. Oscar Gonzalez still right there. But Gavin Sheets is definitely putting his name in the hat for a spot in the opening day roster. And we've been talking about it. Like, he's there for power. And if this is any indication of the power that he has, Gavin Sheets, then, I think he makes the opening day roster as their DH. I do. He gives them some pop, and he could possibly be more of a traditional DH who can play some defense. But you want your DH to be able to run into one more, not every so often, more often than not. And Sam Levitt actually met up with Gavin Sheets this morning. So at this point in the day, Gavin Sheets had only hit 3 home runs, 3 home runs in 3 straight games. So he hasn't hit his 2 other home runs, but Sam Levitt asked him a lot of great questions. The potential of making the opening day roster and what the Padres have told him about his role.
It's no secret you're one of the guys, battling for an opportunity on the opening day roster. What would it mean to you to make the roster and kind of be a part of this group in an opening day sense?
It'd be incredible. That's why I'm here. I love the opportunity here, but biggest thing is I wanted to win. I want to be a part of this team. I know what they did last year, and I know what they want to build on, and I want to be a part of that. I want to be a part of this winning tradition, and opening day would be huge.
As far as your defense, you're somebody who can play first base. You played a lot of outfield in your career. How do you feel about kind of the versatility you provide defensively?
Yeah, I think it's huge being able to play multiple positions. Whether it's DH, first base, left field, right field. Whatever it needs on that given day. Pinch hitting late in the games against a righty closer or something. Whatever it may be on that day. I think the most versatile you can be, the better you can be. So, whatever gets me to the big leagues and keeps me to stick around, I'll do whatever.
Final question for you. What have the Padres, if you can share, communicated to you about defensively what it may look like for you, with a role on the 26-man roster?
Yeah, I think when you look at these guys want to be everyday players, and they love to play the field. So, whether it's giving guys a blow for the day, letting them DH, picking them up, obviously it looks like DH will be the biggest role potentially. But, if Arraez needs a day at first and he wants to DH for a day, or somebody in left, Jay Heyward, somebody needs a day, or Tatis needs a day, kind of fill in for those guys wherever it may need be. And I'm ready for that, willing for that. working out there to be ready to go wherever they need me and go from there.
Always the answer you want to hear right there. Like, what is your role going to be? And they say, wherever they need me. I love those answers, because if they get a little more specific, then, I don't know, maybe high maintenance or something. But Gavin Sheets saying all the right things. 5 home runs now in the last 4 games. Just hit a walk-off against the White Sox. And you heard Tony's voice on that radio call or the video call. And Tony will be joining us shortly here. I'm not sure exactly what time, but he's on his way back from Peoria, the stadium, to his humble abode, and we will go from there. But Gavin Sheets doing his best to make spring train, make the opening day roster. Now, I think when you're looking at the roster, I keep seeing one thing that stands out to me, and that would be fans that think Jason Heyward should not make the roster. And, at the danger of me sounding completely wrong when opening day happens, I just can't see him being left off the opening day roster. I don't think they bring him in for the money that they did, very low amount, and I don't think they leave him off the roster. He's not going to go back to AAA. There's just not. He's at that point in his career where AAA does nothing for him. He needs to be at the major league level, and there's part of me that really, really hopes he can figure it out. And there's part of me that really, really hopes that Jason Heyward turns it on when the season starts. I mean, it's going to be something I think we're all going to be hyper aware of in the beginning of the season, because we know that if they're going to platoon left field, which seems to be the plan, that Jason Heyward is going to get majority of the at-bats because he is going to face right-handed pitching. And so it's having him get the most at-bats out of that left field situation. I don't know how long they're going to go with that. I don't know how long that they're going to try and start that up. And I don't think it's the same situation because as the Matt Carpenter situation from a few years ago, because Matt Carpenter was owed a little bit more money, like $5 million more than Jason Heyward. So that's why they kept him on the roster. But Jason Heyward, I don't think he's expendable. I don't want to say it like that, but I do think that they're going to, you know what? I think they're going to give him a long leash to try to get it going. But I think I and the rest of the fans, if he does not get it going, I think that we're all going to be calling for a change. And that cannot be after game 2 or 3 or 4. It's got to be after, like, I don't know, game 20, 25, 30. Got to give him a good amount of time to try to go out there and figure it out. But if you got guys like Gavin Sheets that can step in, then that works. You got guys in AAA that are, good enough to play at the major league level. There are guys that are going to be injured. So you're going to need these guys. The depth is looking better and better and better each and every day, really. Each and every day that the Padres bring someone else in, the depth is getting better. And Jose Iglesias, we talked about him a lot last week when he was signed, but he is a guy who's, just getting into spring training. So he's not going to be able to go full bore here anytime soon, but he should be ready by opening day. And Chris said something interesting earlier that I didn't really think about is we're all penciling in Jose Iglesias at second base. And we are just assuming that he's going to make the roster. I do think that he makes the roster, especially after what he did last year with the Mets hitting over 300, playing 85 games, playing stellar defense. I think that he should make the roster, and they need to see what he has. But it's, the roster is going to probably take all the way up until opening day, which is usually, it kind of feels like that with the Padres. Other teams, you kind of know who's going to make the roster. But I always love waking up on opening day or when they have to announce the roster. And I always love seeing like the surprises, the guys at the bottom that made it, because that's like, think about it. That's someone's life work right there if they're making a roster for the first time. But the Padres have put themselves in a good position to be competitive with some of their bench spots, and that's a huge thing. I think that's a huge thing. EC Money says, how much are we paying Gavin Sheets? He's a minor league deal, so not much. He has to make the team to get more money. There was something else that Sam Levitt was a privy to earlier today, and that would be Mike Shildt talking about Jake Cronenworth, because Mike Shildt is someone who's always going to talk up his players, and he certainly did that. But Mike Shildt also said something very interesting and kind of out of left field for me a little bit, that he says that Jake Cronenworth, he doesn't see him playing much first base this season, which is slightly confusing to me. So we're going to hear from Mike Shildt when we get back. We have the Big Five at the end of the hour, and Tony Gwynn Jr. still is going to join us after he gets home and gets settled here in Peoria. So we have Mike Shildt talking Jake Cronenworth on the other side. You got traffic report now. Baseball coverage on 97.3 The Fan is presented by T-Mobile. Head to T-Mobile.com and get a great deal on an iPhone 16 Pro. Matt Scraby here with you. Gwynn and Chris, 97.3 The Fan. I have tracked down Tony Gwynn Jr. He is going to be joining us in the next segment. So we'll catch up with Tony. We'll see what he thinks about Gavin Sheets. We'll see how his trip went, chaperoning in Florida, a soccer team. Talk a little bit of Aztecs. We'll talk everything with Tony when he joins the show. But until then, you are stuck with me. I hope that's a good thing. I think it is. And you're also going to be stuck with Mike Schilt. None of us are actually stuck with Mike Schilt. But Mike Schilt, I got to say, spring training is long. And spring training is arduous. And spring training can seem very repetitive at times. So I give Mike Schilt some credit for always, answering the questions as nicely as he can. I don't know if nicely is the right way to say that, but that's how it came out. So we're going to go with it. But we talked about this just before break. Jake Cronenworth, where's he going to play? Is he going to play first base? Well, here's what the media talked to Mike Schilt about a little bit earlier.
With Iglesias back in the organization, do you think we could see Jake still play some first base at times this year?
I don't see it on the radar at the moment. I don't like kind of the Ace's question about part of my longer answer was, the fact that there is versatility and we have guys that have their head around being able to be versatile and are okay within a team setting. There's always a path for different possibilities as the season comes. I can't say it couldn't happen. I also am not looking at it as anything that top of mind that will happen.
So for now, you're looking at Jose as just filling in around the infield.
I think we have a guy that can fill in around the infield. There's going to be a spot for him. It's hard to also answer the question, Dennis, with complete, as much accuracy in the sense of, we don't know where our team's going to shape up. And so at the end, we'll clearly have an idea when we break camp. We can use the DH spot in a couple different, avenues right now. We could also pass it around a little bit, which would, in Jose's, situation, would allow him some opportunity to second short, third day off, use a DH early in the season, keep guys, fresh. But we also have days off first, every Thursday for several Thursdays in a row to begin the season. So, there's a lot of different possibilities as the wrap-up point.
All right, that was Mike Schilt talking to the media earlier today. And so some of the surmising that we have done that Jose Iglesias is going to play second base, it doesn't sound like he's going to play second base. It sounds like he's going to be the utility guy off the bench. And even though he plays great defense, he's not going to be taking over an everyday position. So Jake Cronenworth sounds like he's going to play a lot of second base this year, to the point where Mike Schilt, man, who knows if he's being a little bit of a gamesman here, but he said he doesn't know if how much he's going to see him, if any. He didn't say if any, but he said it didn't really sound like Jake Cronenworth was in the plans to play first base this year, which means that Luis Arraez is out there first. So I don't, maybe Connor Joe is someone who can take over first on certain days. But if we're going to take what Mike Schilt said there and think that Jake Cronenworth is not going to play much first base this year, I don't really know who else can play first base other than Luis Arraez. I mean, Jose Iglesias isn't necessarily a first baseman. He's a second baseman, third baseman. He's a utility infielder. But all that talk about we did it in Padres Pen Pals. How do we make Luis Arraez happy? He doesn't want to be a DH. Well, it doesn't really sound like he's going to be a full-time DH at all. Maybe Gavin Sheets gets that job. But it sounds like Jose Iglesias is going to be a guy who is used as like a guy who spells maybe at second base, third base. Maybe Jake moves over somewhere else or DHs. But they need that sort of guy to plug and play throughout the season. And just hopefully everybody stays healthy. But I find that a little bit surprising that Jake Cronenworth is not going to, possibly not going to play much first base this year. I also wanted to get some information for you about the bullpen. is where I wanted to go with that. The bullpen is, the pitching for the Padres here in spring training has not been amazing. It hasn't been great. Chris talked about it earlier, but it is still spring training. Mike Shildt was asked about a potential of a pitcher competing for a starting rotation spot, but actually ultimately joined the bullpen. Here's what he had to say.
Competing for that number 5 spot, would there be a place for them in the bullpen as a long guy, or is that a possibility?
It's a possibility. We've spoken about it. I don't want to get out of school because clearly some decisions to be made, and also those conversations take place in-house before they get outside. But generally speaking, yes, there's a path for someone that is competing for the 5th spot to potentially be the number 8 guy, 7-8 guy in the bullpen. To provide some length when the season starts, because we do have 7 straight games to start the season, and a length in the bullpen from a couple guys, including a guy that has more length, is going to be important potentially. So yeah, it's on the table, but we also obviously need to be able to have guys in AAA that are in that competition that are getting built up and ready to come up if needed.
All right, so there you go. I don't necessarily think that means much of anything, but it is interesting to think some of these guys are going to be transitioned to the bullpen. I don't know that Matt Waldron is a bullpen guy. We've seen Stephen Kolek. We know that Brian Hoeing is not going to be with the team to start the year. He's injured, so they're going to need a long relief guy. He's their long relief guy, Brian Hoeing. So Stephen Kolek, people have been talking about how great he has looked in spring training, and he's also a guy who's been stretched out to be a starter a little bit, so he could be the long reliever. There are a lot of options for this team, and I don't, as much as we try to find out what the team is going to look like on opening day, I really don't. The team could change so much between now and opening day. That's basically what Mike Shildt said, but if there's a guy who's throwing well enough in spring training, but he is a guy fighting for the rotation, I mean, why not put him in the bullpen? I know that might kind of ruin the starting rotation and being stretched out, or not starting rotation, but the starting job and being stretched out. But at the same time, he's throwing the ball well. Put him in the bullpen. If you need a starter, you can start working on that. So I don't think this team's going to change much between now and opening day. I think they like what they have. I think that they are willing to take this team into the regular season. And the more I think about it, the more I realize, at least to myself, that it doesn't seem like any sort of big changes are incoming, which I'm a fan of. I don't want to throw things in the air a week before the season. It'll all work out, yeah, but it would be a little bit stressful. The trade Jake people out there, I'm not opposed to trading Jake Cronenworth. I just don't know what kind of value you're going to get for Jake Cronenworth. Last year, he really had a much better year than people give him credit for. And I have to think that if he's going to play second base this year, I have to think he's back in a spot where he loves to be, and he had success at the plate when he was playing second base. So I'm willing to give it a go, but they're not going to trade Jake Cronenworth right now. It's not going to happen. It's just not going to happen. And maybe that's the kiss of death, because I said that Gavin Sheets wasn't doing enough to make the opening day roster. Then he hits a walk-off home run, his second home run of the day, 5 home runs in the last 4 games. So basically what I say may turn people around. Jake Cronenworth, who knows? I gave him the all clear, and who knows what's going to happen with that after. All right, Tony Gwynn Jr. He is going to join us as soon as we get back. It's been a while since I've talked to Tony. I'm excited to catch up. So stick around. This is Gwynn and Chris. I'm Matt Scraby. Back shortly on 97.3 The Fan.
Chris, hello. Yeah, we're here in Cooperstown for 97.3 The Fan. So excited, the induction weekend for the great Trevor Hoffman. What a class he's going in with, too. Let's take a look. Of course, Alan Trammell from Kearney High School in San Diego. And then, of course, the Detroit Tigers' great shortstop, Jack Morris, in a Tiger uniform there, but I always remember him pitching that 1-0 shutout in Game 7 of the 1991 World Series for the Minnesota Twins. Maybe the greatest postseason pitching performance of all time. Chipper Jones, Padre fans remember him. Every fan of a National League team remembers him because he would come in and do damage to that team. Only the second #1 overall pick in the Major League Draft, Chipper Jones, to be inducted into the Hall of Fame. The other is Ken Griffey Jr. Vladimir Guerrero, never met a pitch he couldn't swing at, and powerhouse hitter for the Expos, and then, of course, the Angels at the end of his career. Jim Thome, over 600 home runs, mostly with the Cleveland Indians. And then, oh yeah, the guy down here on the end who used to get all these guys out all the time, Trevor Hoffman, the greatest Padre reliever of them all. Two of the greatest outfielders in the history of baseball. Of course, you've got Babe Ruth right here. Ted Williams right over there. I was wondering who the third outfielder would be. And then, of course, it hit me. Tony would be upset if I didn't say that the third outfielder, who will someday probably be displayed right here between these two guys, is obviously Mike Trout. And this is the San Diego Padres locker room here in Cooperstown. Obviously a couple of jerseys there and hats, gloves, all-star stuff. I think the most interesting thing in this entire display, though, especially this weekend, is a picture in the top corner of Angus Young. He's the guitarist for AC/DC, wearing a Trevor Hoffman uniform, obviously playing Hell's Bells. I know that Trevor went to many AC/DC concerts and was honored by sitting in the front row to watch AC/DC play Hell's Bells in his honor. But there's a picture of Angus Young playing Hell's Bells for Trevor Hoffman, wearing the 51 jersey right there. Chris, hello. Yeah, we're here in Cooperstown for 97.3 The Fan. So excited, the induction weekend for the great Trevor Hoffman. What a class he's going in with, too. Let's take a look. Of course, Alan Trammell from Kearney High School in San Diego. And then, of course, the Detroit Tigers' great shortstop, Jack Morris, in a Tiger uniform there, but I always remember him pitching that 1-0 shutout in Game 7 of the 1991 World Series for the Minnesota Twins. Maybe the greatest postseason pitching performance of all time. Chipper Jones.
Look who I found, everybody. I was looking. Hello. It's Tony Gwynn Jr. We've missed you.
Hi, Matthew.
Hello.
Hi, everyone.
Yes.
No, that's good to be back. Good to be back.
How was your
getting to the swing of things?
Yeah, how was your trip to Florida chaperoning a soccer team?
Oh boy. I didn't know what I was getting myself into, and I can't even say my wife and we didn't know what we were getting ourselves into. We thought we were gonna like drive to the game. I didn't think about the other things that come along with having 18, 17, and 18-year-olds.
Yeah, right.
That you have, right? They got to eat. They got to So anyway, it was a lot of fun. The girls they ended up finishing 5th out of the 16 teams that were there.
Okay.
And it was interesting because you get a chance to get to know their personalities like away from the soccer field, and so that was interesting. A few times as we sat in the airport, a couple times the girls, some regular folks who traveling recognize me, come up, they want to take a picture. And, for me, that's kind of just something that happens from time to time when I'm out.
Yeah.
For them, that's like a new experience. And so that kind of broke the ice for them. Then they started asking me questions. And, as the trip goes along, it's interesting to see them go from like normal 6, 17, 18-year-old teenage girls to like right before they're getting ready to get out of the van to go play. It's like a whole transformation. It's kind of crazy to see, but nonetheless, it was a good time. I got to spend time with my daughters. All 3 of them were out there. I wasn't chaperoning the other 2, so it made that a little bit easier. But it was good though. It was fun. So now, back to baseball. No, go ahead. What you got?
I was just gonna say, whenever I see a group of like 20 people and it's clear that it's a sports team in a restaurant, I want to get out of there as fast as possible.
There's a lot of people that had the same face that you're talking about right now.
No,
oh, God.
My food's never gonna come out now.
Oh man. Oh gosh, I can't even. I got stories for days about Chipotle and the orders. It was.
Oh my
goodness.
A nut house, yeah, that is a nut house. All right. Baseball.
Looks like there's some people who have caught fire a little bit since I've been gone. Gavin Sheets continues his hot pace today. That was fun to see.
Yeah, it really was.
Dylan Cease had the weird second inning, but outside of that, looked like Dylan Cease. That was good to see as well. And as I was saying to Jesse on the broadcast today, that this is the kind of week where you start to turn it up. Want to turn it up.
Okay.
And so we'll see how the weeks go along. We got 2 weeks in one day, something like that.
I know it's crazy how close opening day is right now.
Headed back to San Diego. You got the couple dress rehearsals and then the big games.
Opening day. Okay, so let's stick with Gavin Sheets real quick, because I did this whole thing about how I don't know that 4 home runs in 4 days is going to make a team. And then he walks it off and he has 5 home runs in 4 days. Now, I know it doesn't I know that it's a spring training as a whole, but is this something here, let me say it this way. Sorry. Is this type of performance something that makes you makes the team for it? I don't know what I'm trying to say. I don't know why I'm
I don't know what you're trying to say either,
I don't know why I'm having a hard time talking.
Here, I don't know
let me
why
start over.
I just showed up.
Yeah.
Were you doing this before I came on?
No, I wasn't. I guess I'm really nervous to talk to the great Tony Gwynn Jr. Is a stretch like this enough to get Gavin Sheets on the opening day roster? Finally, I said it.
I don't know. I'm sorry it took that long to ask me that question. So for me to say I don't know, but I don't know. I mean, it's still early. I mean, what's today? The 12th?
11th.
11th?
Yeah,
dog. We got some time. This certainly isn't hurting.
Yeah, it's not hurting at all.
I think he's shown well. Even before he started doing this, he was hitting the ball hard. He was making a lot of hard outs on the ground. Now, obviously that's not his idea, but it wasn't like he was up there getting sawed off or, hitting things off the end. He was hitting the ball well. It just wasn't having no luck, and it was on the ground. Now it ain't on the ground. It's in the air, and you see how far these baseballs have been going. And he's played a nice left field as well. And so, listen, we know two things for sure as it pertains to the outfield. Right field is taken, and center field is taken. Tirso Ornelas got off to a terrific start. I don't think he's come back to the pack, but all of a sudden Gavin's swinging the bat the way he is, So I think you can't count out Oscar Gonzalez. I mean, there's one outfield spot, starting outfield spot, and so all three of those guys have at different points made a case to be that guy. So we'll see. It's there ain't no winners right now on March 11th.
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, the Padres spring training Cactus League hopes have been gone for a while now, so I've given up on the Cactus League dream as you've been away, Tony. But
I'm so uninterested in these wins and losses. So uninterested. I could care less what they do wins loss wise. I just want to see the individuals who are competing for spots make the competition interesting as they have. Who's gonna snatch that fifth spot? I think coming in, the idea was Waldron, Vasquez, and it still very well may be those two, but Kolek has looked good. In the two starts he's had, one in the backfield, he's looked good. Who else is going to, put themselves into that race? I think that one hasn't started heating up the way, the outfield has heated up in terms of the competition. Vasquez has struggled a little bit. I think Waldron has struggled, but I think he's struggling for a specific reason. He's having to adjust to throwing that knuckleball more. That even means when it's, chaotic as it was the other day, right?
Yeah.
He still has to keep throwing it. He's got to keep throwing it. And, I think as he gets going, I think about all of the knuckleballers that have pitched in the big leagues, that have pitched for a long time. All of them had a knuckleball that they could throw for a strike, that they could, when they absolutely needed it. It wasn't like this nasty thing, but it was something that they could at least have a better idea of where it was going to go. And I don't know that he's gotten that yet. He's got the super slow, he's got the harder one, but I don't know that he has one that he can control. We'll see if he can, if that's a part of the process. But I look at his struggles different than I look at Vasquez. Vasquez, even when the times he's pitched well, he's had to kind of wiggle out of jams. What were they calling him? Traffic cop, I think.
Yes, they were.
Was calling right. And then that last one, it got away from him big time. And so, you'd like him not to have to see that. You haven't seen that in the start yet. So, there's a lot of competition. My point is, it's early. It's early. A lot of things are still to be cleared up.
Well, one guy that is pitching great in spring training is Nick Pivetta. He has been lights out pretty much every single start that he's made in spring training. The only blemish, I think, was the Fernando Tatis Jr. home run on the backfield off of him. So he's doing some good stuff.
Sometimes that kind of stuff happens. You know what I'm saying? When you're dealing with a guy like Toddy, you might lose a ball from time to time.
Yeah, Toddy hit a home run yesterday, dead center basically.
Yeah,
99.4 off 100 green. That was the pitch. That's fastball. Sorry.
I mean, I don't know that we should be surprised by that.
No, not at all.
100 green is a great pitcher, but we've seen Toddy do that to some of the best in the game. So
how about
not surprised
this topic, Tony? So Garrett Cole goes down. He is getting Tommy John surgery. He's going to be out all of 2025. Luis Gil, the defending AL Rookie of the Year, is going to be out for the first 6 to 8 weeks for the Yankees. Yesterday, Sam and I talked about this, and both of us came to the conclusion that we don't think anything's going to happen. But if the Yankees come calling and they can offer something that is above, average, would you consider moving someone this late in spring training from the Padres to the Yankees?
I guess it depends on who it is that you're moving.
Yeah. We were talking about like another starter, but I don't know that they really have a starter. The other one I've been seeing from all of the MLB pundits is, well, Austin Wells could come back in a trade, but I don't necessarily know that the Padres need Austin Wells right now.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, of course they could make a trade just late in the spring if they wanted to, but I don't know. That's a weird one. Like with the Yankees, it depends on what you're trying to get. What do they have that you're interested in?
We look through. There's not much going on. Jason Dominguez, are they going to get rid of him? Probably not. I don't think they're going to do something like that. I mean,
what are you giving up to get Jason Dominguez?
Dylan Cease and something else. I know we're kind of doing like fantasy baseball trades at this point.
Yeah, I don't know. I hate fantasy baseball.
I know you hate these trade talks, which it is kind of.
I don't even. I'm in a great mood, so I'm entertaining this anyway. In terms of like, it's going as far as I have, but I don't want to go anymore because it's getting.
What?
Yeah, I don't know.
Okay, all right.
I don't know.
It's okay. It's okay. I like that you're just keeping it real. Keeping it real. The other thing we were just talking about a little bit earlier today was Mike Shildt said that Jake Cronenworth might not play much first base this year, which I think all of us, or maybe not all of us, maybe myself, prematurely put Jose Iglesias at second base for the year, but he's going to be more of a utility infielder. Do you think Jake is better at second? Do you think it helps? Here's what I want to ask. Does it help?
Wait. Time out. Wait. I want to go back.
What?
When did we pencil in Jose Iglesias?
No, I took it back and I said I did. I said I did.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I thought Jose Iglesias was going to be the second baseman, which puts Jake at first, and then it puts Luis Arraez at the DH. But then Mike Shildt said today, no, Jake's not going to play much first. So my question is, like, does it help for Jake to have one position? This is what you're going to play. Go for
it. Yes. I think he should play second base. I think that's where he should be. And I assume that you're taking Jake out because he's having a bad spring and Jose Iglesias is now on the team. Is that how this is working?
Yes. Why are you laughing?
Get out of here. So the bad spring is removing him from playing second.
No, it's not. I'm so confused, Tony, in my head because earlier today, Chris has been telling me that spring training doesn't matter, and then he's bringing up the spring training record earlier. I'm very confused. Does it matter or not?
It doesn't. The spring training record doesn't matter.
Yes, the record does.
Spring training results for certain individuals, it does matter. It's funny. We were talking about this during the game. I mean, for somebody like Yuli Gurriel,
mm-hmm.
his spring training matters for sure. For somebody like Jackson Merrill, quite frankly, his spring training doesn't matter. For Fernando Tatis Jr., and when I say it doesn't matter, it's not that the time here isn't valuable and it's not being put to use. I'm just saying in terms of what the end production is, in terms of hits versus outs, it does not matter. Does not matter at all for Jackson Merrill, for Fernando, for Manny.
Arraez.
For the Arraez.
Yeah.
I don't think it matters so much for Jake. I think you want to see Jake get going, but I don't think he's in that category, despite how you may feel in this situation.
Apparently, I'm asking for more hate mail. I don't know why, but I don't know that I said anything.
Wait, who said that?
Junior said, Scraby is just asking for more hate mail. You are killing us, Smalls. What did I say that was deserving of hate mail?
I'm just saying, man. I get it. Don't be reactive to Chris giving you the standings, and don't be reactive to what's happening in terms of what are you hitting in spring training. for those guys.
Okay. Well, we'll come back to the Padres a little bit later, but let's talk a little bit real quick before the end of the hour about your Lakers.
This is a little potpourri, huh? We kind of talked a little.
I didn't know what time you were going to get here, so
talked a little bit Padres. Now we're moving on to the Lakers.
You know, I just kept everything
talking about the
waiting
Lakers.
for you.
Talking about the Lakers these days is a lot easier. I can definitely tell you that. Although, I was thinking about today. JJ Redick, he used to bug me as a what did we call it? I guess he started out I guess he was an analyst, right? But he also kind of moonlighted as a personality on First Take and some of those other shows on ESPN. And I was thinking today, had he been a coach first and then did that, I would have loved him. And I've kind of grown that way at watching him as a coach now. I just love how authentic and honest he is. Him going off on the Lakers, losing that game yesterday, the way he was emphasizing low energy was like, I was like crying, laughing. Or what we say, low energy communication or something he was saying along those lines. But I think he's done a terrific job. I honestly think he is the difference. It's the same exact roster. And this was before Luka got there, by the way. Luka has only enhanced how smart he is as a coach. You can see it in more ways than just on the court. Like, I don't know that I've seen LeBron defend like this, and maybe it's partly why he's hurt, maybe at this age, but I don't know that I've seen him defend like this in a very long time, especially since he's been a Laker. I don't know he's defended like this ever in his Laker career. And I think it's having a head coach like JJ Redick that I don't know what that would say. I don't want to say it motivates, but that it seems like they're connected somehow.
Yeah, that's the biggest surprise for me this year is that JJ Redick is able to keep the attention and the respect of the players in the club or the clubhouse, the locker room.
Yeah. No, I think LeBron is doing what he does generally, except the defensive part. I just think he's got all those guys are like dialed in. Everybody knows their role. They're just playing. They're playing good. Luka's, and I don't even think they've hit top speed yet.
Probably not.
Luka's still trying to figure it out. By the way, I have to say, my man Luka complains every call. Man,
Chris has been saying this for years. For years.
Dude, he I don't think he lets anything go. Like, I don't know if I've ever seen him like get a foul and like not at least mean mug the referee when he didn't get the call. Like, I've never seen him just like walk away.
Do you get annoyed by it?
A little bit.
Yeah.
But hey, it's worth it. It's worth all of it to have him on the team because he is unbelievable.
Unbelievable. Yes. That is kind of funny though. He does. Chris has been saying that for like the last, I don't know, 5 years.
I don't know how he doesn't get more. I honestly don't know how he doesn't get more teased.
Yeah, I don't either. But all right, that was Tony rejoining the show. We'll have more for you when we get back here on 97.3 The Fan. Traffic report up next. Thank you for listening to 97.3 The Fan. Be back shortly. I would be back shortly if the thing will click. See, I'm clicking. I have no idea what's happening. It's not playing any commercials right now. Well, this is just great, everybody. Let me see if I could try to start another one. All right. Well, this is awesome. On the air right now with no help, and there are no commercials to be played. Actually, you know what I'm going to do, everybody? You're getting a real live thing right here. This is real live Matt Scraby. I'm going to have to restart Wide Orbit real quick. So goodbye, Wide Orbit. It's not even closing. I'm going to text Adam, and I'm going to say, Adam, I tried to go to break and the commercials did not play. and the program won't shut down. Oh, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna have to do some Control-Alt-Delete over here. Control-Alt-Delete. Okay, I got it. Task Manager. It's not coming up. There it goes. Task Manager came up, everybody. I have no idea. I'm way too generous with my stroke giving. Never mind.
Are you really?
Never mind.
Wait.
I did not mean for that to happen. I did not.
That sounds like a promo to me.
Scraby's giving out strokes. I can't wait to hear that one. I'm gonna laugh for a while on that one.
Nate says, Scravy, maybe you should date her.
You might be a generous stroke giver, but I don't think she really wants to leave her boyfriend for that.
All right, that was good. That was good. In full disclosure, I'm reading this. Tony can't gather himself right now. That was a good one, Chris. That was a really good one. So I saw this at 7-Eleven, and I had to get it. It's called the One Chip Challenge. It was sitting there in the aisle, and I thought, why not? Because I am into spicy stuff. But this thing looks pretty hot. I'm not going to lie. It says a Reaper pepper and a Scorpion pepper. It's also in the shape of a coffin, which doesn't make me very happy about that. It doesn't make me feel good. Oh, extreme heat, it says. I'm going to try a little bit first, just so I don't die, I guess. That's the thing I'm saying. This looks... I don't even know if I should be eating this. It looks like it has mold or something, but let's see how hot it is. Let's go. There's a little bit of spice there. It's going. Oh, man. This is hot. Not that bad, though. I still have this side to go. It is getting hot. I'm not gonna lie. My mouth is like getting crazy. Now it's kicking in. I'm not sure if I'm gonna finish this. Honestly, it's getting serious. I gotta go with the milk. My mouth is dying right now. Yeah, this is not fun, guys. Never gonna do that again because my mouth is on fire. Thank you for listening to 97.3 The Fan. Be back shortly. I would be back shortly if the thing will click. See, I'm clicking. I'm clicking. I have no idea what's happening. It's not playing any commercials right now. Well, this is just great, everybody. Let me see if I could try to start another one. All right. Well, this is awesome. On the air right now with no help. And there are no commercials to be played. Actually, you know what I'm going to do, everybody? You're getting a real live thing right here. This is real live Matt Scraby. I'm going to have to restart Wide Orbit real quick. So, goodbye, Wide Orbit. It's not even closing. I'm going to text Adam, and I'm going to say, Adam, I tried to go to break, and the commercials did not play, and the program won't shut down. Oh, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to have to do some Control-Alt-Delete over here. Control-Alt-Delete. Okay, I got it. Task Manager. It's not coming up. There it goes. Task Manager came up, everybody. I have no idea. I'm way too generous with my stroke giving. Never mind.
Are you really?
Never mind.
Wait.
I did not mean for that to happen. I did not.
That sounds like a promo to me.
Scraby's giving out strokes. I can't wait to hear that one. I'm gonna laugh for a while on that one.
Nate says, Scravy, maybe you should date her.
You might be a generous stroke giver, but I don't think she really wants to leave her boyfriend for that.
All right, that was good. That was good. In full disclosure, I'm reading this. Tony can't gather himself right now. That was a good one, Chris. That was a really good one. So I saw this at 7-Eleven, and I had to get it. It's called the One Chip Challenge. It was sitting there in the aisle, and I thought, why not? Because I am into spicy stuff. But this thing looks pretty hot. I'm not going to lie. It says a Reaper pepper and a Scorpion pepper. It's also in the shape of a coffin, which doesn't make me very happy about that. It doesn't make me feel good. Oh, extreme heat, it says. I'm going to try a little bit first, just so I don't die, I guess. That's the thing I'm saying. This looks... I don't even know if I should be eating this. It looks like it has mold or something, but let's see how hot it is. Let's go. There's a little bit of spice there. It's going. Oh, man. This is hot. Not that bad, though. I still have this side to go. It is getting hot. I'm not gonna lie. My mouth is like getting crazy. Now it's kicking in. I'm not sure if I'm gonna finish this. Honestly, it's getting serious. I gotta go with the milk. My mouth is dying right now. Yeah, this is not fun, guys. Never gonna do that again because my mouth is on fire. Thank you for listening to 97.3 The Fan. Be back shortly. I would be back shortly if the thing will click. See, I'm clicking. I'm clicking. I have no idea what's happening. It's not playing any commercials right now. Well, this is...
Yes, indeed. 5 o'clock. The happy hour has arrived. Tony Gwynn Jr., Matt Scraby, Chris Ello, and the Lady Aztecs are getting ready to tip off here any moment. Good luck to them. We want them to pull off the upset. The Aztecs also need a victory. Sounds like we are on the first 4 in list.
Yeah,
we're gonna have to continue to build our resume, and so might as well go ahead and win a couple games. So we can go ahead and put this to bed. Certainly would be a sad NCAA tournament without our Aztecs for sure.
Yeah, it would be very sad. I mean, it's just almost commonplace now for them to be in the tournament.
I know you guys talked about it a little bit earlier, but a lot happened in the NFL, man. Like, this is why the NFL is legit.
Yeah,
this is why, dog. It's like a feeding frenzy. It's like a piranhas. Like, free agency hits and it's like, boom, this guy's going here. Boom, this trade. Boom, signing. Boom, sign. It's just like, this is why this league is, the number one league.
I actually, it's funny
really
you say
remarkable.
That because we said, Sam and I talked about this very thing yesterday, and Sam was saying that he wishes, and he knows that players are not going to go for this, but he wishes that baseball had a defined period for free agency, which I know we've talked about, but it would really make things very exciting if there was like a 2-week period in baseball during the winter meet or during the offseason where free agency is open. Now that wouldn't help the guys who don't get it on a roster, and so then they have to take less money, but baseball needs to find some way to make their offseason more exciting, and it's just not there. And I don't know that it ever will be there based on the way baseball is.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. And just putting it in a time frame, but these type of, because it's a free market, those type of deals take time. Now, maybe you have to open it up earlier, or at least allow for conversations to happen earlier so that if you have that period of time where it's done, there's some conversations that have already been kind of put together.
Yeah.
That kind of, make these things happen a little faster. But listen, if somebody's getting $500 million, you're not just going to just negotiate that. Like, that's just like a buildup to get to those type of numbers. You know what I'm saying? Like, it is. I imagine they're not happening in like 2 days where those conversations are done.
Yeah, I don't think Juan Soto's $765 million came over like a 30-minute lunch or something like that. They're starting low and they're going up from there.
Yeah, so I don't know. I don't know if baseball could ever do anything like that. I mean, NBA is like probably second. They when their free agency hits like midnight, we all are looking at the TV waiting for the bottom line things to go off. So yeah, I would love for that to be like that in baseball, but just ain't so there, sir.
I hate this offseason already. It's the worst offseason in NFL history for me. So
yeah, the Niners looking they're not looking the same, man. They're not looking. You lost your linebacker. I think you called him the heart and soul at one point.
I did.
Man, you lost your heart and soul. That's tough.
Lost Hufanga. Lost Javon Hargrave.
Yep, you released your fullback.
Kyle Juszczyk. Then I almost cried there for a second. Leonard Floyd, also gone. Charvarius Ward, also gone. All to make room for Mr. Purdy and his $1 billion contract.
Hey, if he thought the kitchen was hot
before.
Oh,
let you get this money, sir.
Yeah,
and not be top tier or taking your team top tier.
Seriously.
Oh, they're gonna eat you alive, man.
I feel bad for Brock Purdy. I feel bad for Brock Purdy. I don't know that he deserves $70 million like every quarterback seems to get these days, but you know who also? Micah Parsons is really, really driving me nuts. What did
Micah do to you, man?
He is celebrating the 49ers. He is celebrating them getting rid of all their players, and it is really bothering me.
Why are you mad at that?
Because
he's not a Niner fan, bro. He's supposed to do that.
I really I know that, but he's not supposed to openly cheer against them.
Yes, he is.
He said, "No more Ricky quarterback. Welcome to reality."
He basically saying, "We about to find out."
Guess what, Micah Parsons? What has your quarterback done over the years? You know what? He's done. Lost a bunch of games to the 49ers, so be quiet, Micah Parsons.
Okay, well, I think that's why he's cheering. It's like that will no longer be the case. We won't be losing games to the 49ers. I think that's why he's cheering.
Okay. All right, fine. I've been asked by listeners to let you guys know what happened yesterday during our MLS interview with Chris Wehan.
I heard a little bit about this, so let me make sure I understand this right.
Yeah.
Who? First of all, who were you interviewing from
Chris
LAFC?
Wehan? He was a former MLS player. We're gonna, hopefully work with him more often.
So you had Chris on, and you're asking him about shin guards, bro.
I did ask him about shin guards. I asked him about shin guards because I thought it would be fun at the end of the interview.
Did he like play along?
Yeah, he was great. I even texted him after because I felt so awkward about it. Like, did I just ask this dude about shin guards and it was like an awkward question? So I texted him and said, "Hey, I'm sorry if the shin guard question was stupid." And he was like, "No, it's all good. I loved it." But he answered it great. And then Sam just completely tried to crush me after the interview. And I had to go and listen to it because it was.
Let me hear it. Yeah. Let me hear it. If you got it,
I have the end of the interview. This is not the shin guard question. This is Sam going in on me about things that happened during the interview.
Good job, Scrabe.
Thanks.
How about you do a little research before the guy comes on? Maybe you tell us where he played.
No, I already knew that. I was allowing him to tell his own story. I looked it up earlier.
Sure.
Sam.
Yes.
Oh yeah. I have this whole sheet here, and it has all this information, but I didn't look up about the guy who's coming on the show. It was just easier for me.
And then you're like, do they still kick people in the shins to make sure these are professional soccer players? Lionel Messi plays in this league.
Guess what? Oh, I don't know. Okay, see, that was just a little taste of Spicy Sam right there. That was yesterday's show in a nutshell.
Oh my gosh, great. Yeah, no, there was a piece of me that felt Sam's embarrassment when he asked you.
I hate this. Okay. Should I be Sam real quick? Here, I'm going to be Sam. Well, Chris, it's Sam Levitt from the Padres Radio Network.
Oh, here you go. This is your Sam Levitt impression?
Can you tell me about their midfield situation? I'm a serious sportscaster. I only ask serious sportscasting questions.
This guy seems like he's from the same family as Chris Ello's voice that you use.
No, Chris Ello's like this. Sam is more of a real broadcaster. He is going to ask the brute questions. Chris, so nice to have you on. Can you tell me about the attacking midfielders?
You certainly need to play this for Sam at some point because he's not here to defend himself. At least when he did, you were there to kind of defend yourself. Now he's not here. And you taking shots, man. I'm just saying.
Sorry, Sam. The chat said Nate goes, Matt Scraby, do you cringe when you hear yourself? Yeah, I do. Why do you think I take it home with me? Jack says it was a Sassam, which is really good. That is really good.
Sassam.
A Sassam.
That is good.
Scraby took some heat. Sammy cooked you. I don't think Sammy cooked me. Wow, secondhand embarrassment is real. Katrina, someone get the license plate on the bus currently backing over Sammy. You're right. Beep.
Yeah,
beep. Beep. Now, Sam's been great.
Saying, man.
Sam's been great. He's really helped. He was going to make an appearance today, but we actually had enough, and so he did not make an appearance today. But I'm going to be out there next week, Tony, on Sunday. So I'm going to try to meet up with.
Oh, you guys are coming down here next week, aren't you?
Yeah, Monday and Tuesday. We're going to be from spring training. The Gwynn and Chris program is going to be there. So we'll have some interviews with players and all that stuff. Also, I finally put up the March Madness bracket that we are doing for the station. So just go to 97.3thefan.sd.com. There's a blog post. It will say sign up for our March Madness bracket. Click that.
I need to sign up.
Enter your info. I think you already did sign up, but you'll get the link to the actual league once you complete the form. I know that's confusing some people. It'll pop up with another screen confirming that you entered your information, and then you click that link and it will help you. But yeah, we're trying to get as many people as we can into the March Madness bracket as soon as possible, so that Selection Sunday comes, we don't need to rush and everybody can make their picks. Chris is like already trying to set us up for him having a terrible bracket. I'm like, Chris, you always do this, bro. You always do.
What is he doing?
He always goes, yeah, we're going to do brackets, but I don't like brackets. I'm always so bad at the brackets. The brackets don't mean anything anyway.
You should tell him to get better then. You don't like it? Get better.
That is true. Get better, Chris. All right.
What do you say? You need to play. You need to play Coach Long's.
That would have been perfect.
Competitors don't make excuses; they just make plays.
Yeah. You better make some plays, Chris. Let's go.
You better make some plays, Chris. All right. That's it for the second.
All right, we got to get the break. Morgan and Chris on the other side. Here's some traffic.
From the 855.
Well, Dylan, I think the first obvious question: long hair, long beard. Have you had a shave since the last game of the season?
I don't think so.
Man,
I don't think so.
That's great.
Why is that?
Just changing it up. Why not? You know?
Okay. All right. I'm jealous of the beard because I'm a guy who likes to grow a beard, but your beard, how long did that take to grow?
I think this is 3 months, maybe.
3 months.
Now,
okay.
is this going to stay as we get into spring? Are you going to keep it? Because I don't think I've ever seen you. I've seen the beard before. I don't think I've ever seen the hair.
No, I haven't had hair like this since I was 12. I'll probably keep it. We'll see how it performs, really.
That's the key.
That's
How
the
does
thing.
it perform?
That's the biggest thing.
Speaking of perform, how you feeling, man? Obviously, spring training right around the corner. Pitchers and catchers report. This is the time of year where the green light goes on again.
Yeah, I feel good. Working on a bunch of different stuff. Biggest thing is really just getting the body to feel good and getting ramped up. But I feel like I'm on track.
How do you deal in terms of getting yourself ready each and every year? You know, ball players are notorious for always trying to figure out how to get a little bit better. You're probably one of the most consistent guys in our league. Is there as much a focus on finding ways to get better, or is the focus how to continue on the path that you've been on, which is a guy who can get in a lot of innings every year?
I mean, I guess it kind of depends on what part of the offseason I'm in and, you know, what I'm trying to work on. Like specifically this offseason, I've made a little mechanical adjustment, tinkering with some new pitches. But the bulk of it is just getting my body ready, really. I mean, that's the main focus, main priority. So I kind of know where I need to be in terms of like my velocity and bullpens and building up and all that. So I always like to think I'm adding. I'm definitely working on new pitches and exciting stuff like that. So at the end of the day, I kind of know that my four-seamer and my slider and my curveball are kind of going to be my main pitches.
Right.
So it's like no matter what, that's my base and foundation, and everything from there is just tinkering and just seeing if I can get a little bit better.
We're talking to... All of a sudden, my mic over there.
There you go.
All right, we're talking to Dylan Cease here,
Don't
Padres
panic.
starting pitcher. I wasn't panicking.
You look like you panicked.
I was panicking for one half.
He made me panic.
Did I look like I panicked?
You panicked a little
okay.
bit, that's
all
all
right.
right.
Well, if Dylan says I panicked, then I panicked. I'm going to have to ask the question about, and I know you've been asked this today, but your name has been a part of a lot of trade rumors this year. I think Padres fans want you to stay here in San Diego. See, right there. How do you deal with that? Because I would imagine that would be hard.
I don't know. I mean, I guess it's my second year in a row dealing with it, so I got experience now. It's just part of the business, I guess. Really, wherever I go, I'm gonna make the best of the opportunity. I love San Diego and I want to be here, so it's like if I don't go anywhere, I love it here. And if they trade me, then I just have to go make the best of it wherever I go.
Now, you talked a little bit about working on new pitches and mechanics. For you, how long does a mechanical change take to be something where you don't have to think about it anymore?
Yeah, and that depends. This specific scenario, I'm working on an upper half thing, a glove thing. So I don't know. It's kind of new territory for me.
Yeah. So you're kind of figuring it out as you go.
Yeah, but it really gets to the point where it feels good, and then from there it's just ramping up the intensity. And because anytime you do something at a higher power, higher speed,
yeah,
it's like a new feeling altogether. So I can sit and train it one way, but until I'm throwing 98 with it.
Doing it game speed, yeah.
And a lot of it, is kind of like learning my body, and then I'll throw a pitch and it's like, oh, that didn't come out the way I wanted it to. Like specifically if I'm throwing a four-seam fastball and I'm trying to throw it just through somebody, but it's yanked, it's like, okay,
yeah,
something happened right there. I don't know, something came off. I didn't use my
legs. You could just feel something different about it.
And then you see the shape of the pitch. So a lot of it's just gaining feedback from what the ball's doing and then trying to manipulate my body to see like, oh, okay, when I do this, the ball goes this way, and just see if I can't ingrain that.
Well, Dylan, I think the first obvious question, long hair, long beard, is have you had a shave since the last game of the season?
I don't think so.
Man.
I don't think so.
That's great.
Why is that?
Just changing it up. Why not? You know?
Okay. All right. I'm jealous of the beard because I'm a guy who likes to grow a beard, but your beard, how long did that take to grow?
I think this is 3 months, maybe.
3 months.
Now,
okay.
is this going to stay as we get into spring? Are you going to keep it? Because I don't think I've ever seen you. I've seen the beard before. I don't think I've ever seen the hair.
No, I haven't had hair like this since I was 12. I'll probably keep it. We'll see how it performs, really.
That's the key. How does it perform?
That's the biggest thing.
Speaking of perform, how you feeling, man? Obviously, spring training right around the corner. Pitchers and catchers report. This is the time of year where the green light goes on again.
Yeah, I feel good. Working on a bunch of different stuff. Biggest thing is really just getting the body to feel good and getting ramped up. But I feel like I'm on track.
How do you deal in terms of getting yourself ready each and every year? You know, ball players are notorious for always trying to figure out how to get a little bit better. You're probably one of the most consistent guys in our league. Is there as much a focus on finding ways to get better, or is the focus how to continue on the path that you've been on, which is a guy who can get in a lot of innings every year?
I mean, I guess it kind of depends on what part of the offseason I'm in and, you know, what I'm trying to work on. Like specifically this offseason, I've made a little mechanical adjustment, tinkering with some new pitches. But the bulk of it is just getting my body ready, really. I mean, that's the main focus, main priority. So I kind of know where I need to be in terms of like my velocity and bullpens and building up and all that. So I always like to think I'm adding. I'm definitely working on new pitches and exciting stuff like that. So better than day.
5:19 on the clock. Tony Gwynn Jr. Matthew Scraby getting you through the happy hour. Chris Ello currently calling the Lady Aztecs as they take on the Lady Rebels.
I should check and see what their score is.
Got a score for me, Scrabe?
I do not. Yesterday I tried to follow along, but they started late. They won by 10. They have not started yet. It doesn't look like.
Yes, they have. It's
live
9-7.
stats. There we go.
9-7. UNLV is up right now.
You know, I love it, Tony, when I go, I don't think they've started yet. And then you're like, yes, they have. It's 9-7. And I go, yeah, it's 9-7. That's what it is.
Yeah, man. Yeah, so good luck to them.
Yes.
Now, Michael King, let's talk.
Yeah.
I didn't see the last start. I was gone. I did hear that command was a little bit of an issue, and he wasn't very happy about it. It sounds like, Greg.
No, he was definitely not happy. Here's a quote from him after his start the other day. Fastball command's been bad. It was bad in the last outing too, so it was a battle. I feel like my off-speed pitches were there today, so I'll take that as a positive, but I've got to get the fastball command. And Michael King also was saying that leading up to this last start that he made, he was not really treating it as a regular season start. He was just going into the game and working on things. This last one, he did actually treat it like a regular season start. So he's ramping up for the season, but fastball command, he said it's been bad, Tony.
Yeah. I mean, I know his first start out, he kind of was a little off early, but he got right and looked good from that point. He just never found it in this game. And I think, it's not a concern. It's just something he's probably overly, focused on, because that pitch is his most important pitch. I mean, I know he's got the wipeout sweeper, but that fastball, whether it's the two seam that, he throws at the left-hander's hip and runs it back over the inside part of the plate, or if it's the one that he's riding up in the zone, that's the pitch that I think that's the pitch that he needs the most. It's the most important one. It sets up everything else. And so it's not a surprise to see him a little frustrated with the fact that he's had a couple starts where he just hasn't been able to command it, or at least the starts that we've seen on the big side, on the big field side.
Is it fair to us to expect all these guys from last year put up seasons that we didn't see coming? Is it fair to expect them to do that again?
I mean, I don't know if fair is really a matter of, I don't think that really comes into the equation, whether it's fair or not. People are going to, they're going to expect that now. I mean, they've seen you do it. And you quite frankly, you want to go out and perform that way. I mean, because ultimately you want to be compensated for it as well. And so the more you pitch like that, the more you can make. And so, yeah, I think it is fair. I don't know if it's fair, but it comes with the territory, right? There it is. You go out and you go out and you put yourself in Cy Young conversations. That comes with some responsibility in terms of what people are going to expect out of you, and that's just what it is. And so, by the way, end of the first quarter, 10-9. In the first quarter, UNLV up 1. And so I think, for Michael, I think for for the people who are Padre fans, I think that's just inevitable. Remember, you traded Juan Soto to not just get him, but to get players like him because you thought they could be pretty good. Now you've shown that, yes, I can be more than pretty good. People are going to expect that.
It's also a big year for
the more you do it, the higher the expectation is. Like there's a segment of people that will expect it, but people who watch baseball, have been watching it for a long time, will say, "All right, let me see you do it again."
Yeah,
and then if you go out and do it a second year, then more expectation comes. You do it a third year, more expectation comes. And that's the beautiful thing about baseball. If you're consistent, man, you can be really, really good. I think it takes a while to get to a place where people where it goes from expectation to assumption. Like, oh, he's going to do that. Yeah. Like you got to do what Manny's done for as long as he's done it for people just to feel like, he's going to do this. He's going to do what he does. That doesn't just come over after 1 or 2 years of doing that.
No. And what proved it to me about Manny getting his numbers is you guys kept saying all year he's going to get his numbers, and it didn't seem like he was going to get his numbers, but he definitely got his numbers. And
he did that not healthy, not 100% healthy.
Yeah,
he just got healthier as the year went on. So, there's more. There's probably more in the tank.
Oh, there's definitely more in the tank. I love me some Michael King.
Yeah. No, Mike is he's going to be a very important piece in terms of this the Padres team's success. I would think. Now, listen, somebody could just show up out of nowhere and there's all kinds of different circumstances that can happen over a course of 162. But I would guess that he is going to be a big part of the Padres having success should they have any. All right, we got to get to break. Big Five coming up next, right here on Gwynn and Chris.
All right.
Congratulations to today's biggest fan, Gian Collins of San Diego. Give us a call back within the next 10 minutes, 833-288-0973, and you'll qualify for our grand prize, 20 tickets for you and your friends for a night in our Odyssey Suite at a Padres game later this season. Remember to register your name at 973thefansd.com/biggest fan. Gian Collins, you're on the clock. Scrape,
Yes.
you got a big five lined up.
We do. We need to wait like 2 minutes for traffic. I want to make sure people get their traffic.
How
was your travel?
How was my travel? I mean, I had to travel with 18 young ladies.
That's true.
There was 3 adults and 18 young ladies, and it was pretty good. You know, we flew Southwest.
Oh.
And I've flown Southwest for a long time. You know, when I was playing, in AAA, you fly Southwest. AA, you fly Southwest, right? And when you fly in groups, generally they give you like B's and C's. And so the good thing though is you got like 25 people that are taking up some of those seats. So I was just worried I was gonna get stuck in the middle. But I got an aisle every time.
Oh, nice. Look at that!
It worked out.
Even
as a C member, I still got an aisle.
Did they actually okay? You just answered my question. I was going to say if they've switched over to like seated.
Not yet.
Okay.
Not yet. I know they're. I think that's coming though.
It is. They're making all those
coming,
changes. Yeah. Last question for you before we head to the Big Five. Tiger Woods tore his Achilles.
Oh my man!
Thoughts?
The best part about. I mean, nothing was good about it, but the funny part about it was I read the article and my man is already talking about rehab and getting back out there basically. Like it's gonna attack this rehab. I'm like, Tiger, your body is like saying I'm not right. How many surgeries is this for Tiger?
They put it up on the screen earlier, and it's a lot. It's more than 5. I mean, he's got back surgery, he's got a couple Achilles tendon surgeries now.
I'm not gonna lie, I admire his and I'm not even saying that he was talking about playing golf again. It's just most people who have been beat up like this for as long as he has. At some point, the rehab part is like, nah, I don't want to do this.
Nah,
but,
I don't want to do this.
But that's not Tiger. Tiger's like already thinking about, rehabbing and attacking it.
Yes, that is true. That is true. I mean, I say just hang it up, Tiger Woods, y'all. Hang it up, buddy. We don't have traffic, but we're ready for the Big Five.
Big Five. Here you go.
It's that time of the show when we check on the latest in sports. Only the most important topics and questions are brought to light.
Stop what you're doing and listen.
These news stories will astound and amaze you. The one, the only.
Oh my God, who the hell cares?
The Big Five starts now on 97.3 The Fan.
All right. I'm glad to have Chris back in the Big Five. No offense to Sammy Lev or anything, but we don't get into any fights during the Big Five, and the Big Five needs a little bit of disagreement here and there every once in a while.
Sam is a friendly guy, maybe to a fault.
Yesterday he was pretty mean. I just gotta say.
Was he?
Oh, it was fiery Sammy, is what we were talking about yesterday.
Good.
Yes.
Okay.
It wasn't just fiery Sammy. It was fiery Sammy.
Hey, look, nobody likes to lose, even if it's spring training. I get it.
Oh, well, I don't think it was even about that. He was just feisty yesterday. But let's get into this.
Number 5.
Sam and I broke down the big situation for the Aztec men's team, but I wanted to talk about one guy in particular, Aztec center Magoon Guath. He was honored alongside Miles Bird and Nick Boyd for their standout seasons this year. Guath took home 4 awards. He took home Mountain West Freshman of the Year, Mountain West Defensive Player of the Year. He was named to the All Mountain West Defensive Team, and he had an All Mountain West Honorable Mention. So I don't want to bring bad vibes, Chris, but this is what's in my head. How worried are you about another team stealing him from San Diego State?
Pretty worried. I got to be honest with you. First of all, let's take a second to congratulate him a little further on just those awards. I think, with everything that Guath did this year and the way he played, I don't think any of us are surprised by any of these awards. I mean, after all, Defensive Player of the Year, you can't get a shot off in the paint against San Diego State because of Magoon Guath. So, that award, it makes perfect sense. Freshman of the Year is an incredible achievement for a guy that wasn't even considered the best freshman on his own team when the season started. Pharaoh Compton was named the preseason Freshman of the Year. You also had Taj DeGorville, who was playing, good minutes all season long. And when this season started, I would say Guath was no better than the third best freshman on the Aztecs. And so to end up the Freshman of the Year in the entire conference is incredible. And it's really, a testament to his work, because he wasn't this good when the season started. You could see the athleticism that he had. You can't teach his size. You can't teach the length of his arms, but you can teach a guy how to be more consistent with his shot. You can teach being more effective in scoring around the basket and creating some post moves. And you can teach, the timing that goes along with blocking shots. So to me, the Freshman of the Year award is an incredible credit to him, but also the coaches that work with this guy. We don't talk about it enough, Scraby, but I get to see it on a daily basis with the women's team. The assistant basketball coaches, the guys and gals who sit on the bench behind the head coach, who's up screaming and yelling at the referees the entire game. These people that you never hear from, they do 90% of the work with these players and breaking down film and working individually with them to make them better players. I see it all the time. And, the men's staff that Brian Dutcher has had, with Velasquez and all the rest of these guys that have been there, and some who've left, because they've done such a great job. That this staff doesn't get enough credit. And this Freshman of the Year award is part of that. Having said all that, and that was a lot, I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Sorry about that. I'm passionate about the staff. Having said that, the staff doesn't have $1 million. And who does, right? The teams in the SEC do. The teams in the Big Ten do. The teams in the Big 12 do. The teams in the ACC do. I know for a fact that Brian Dutcher and the Aztecs and the whole, sports department there on Montezuma Mesa is already doing what they can. They're already, working on this. They know that this is going to be difficult. But if somebody comes with a suitcase full of money, how can you tell Magoon Guath, hey, you should pass on the $2 million payday to go play at Oklahoma State? Even if he doesn't want to leave, you can hardly tell him to pass on that money. And, I compare it a lot to the home buying market, especially in Southern California. You have people that can't afford to buy homes. And then you have other people who come in with suitcases full of cash and tell the real estate agent, you're asking $1 million, here's $1.5 million cash. I'll buy the house. Well, what are you going to do? You're going to take the cash. It's the same kind of thing. So I'm very worried, but that's the state of the way things are in college basketball. I don't know if I left anything for you to say.
I don't need to say anything because you did definitely say everything. I think the reason I'm asking the question tells everybody that I'm a little nervous about Magoon Guath too. But like you said, school knows this is a big priority for them, and the basketball team knows it's a big priority. I think they figure out a way to keep him and, make him happy enough to stay around. So we'll see what happens with him.
Look, if any program can keep somebody under these circumstances, it's the Aztecs. They've done a pretty good job But, you look around the country right now, I mean, Chad Baker-Mazara, Micah Parrish,
Lamont Butler.
Ethan Saunders, Lamont Butler, of course. These kids are still going elsewhere.
Yep.
Number 4.
Though a sale is not imminent, Tampa Bay Rays owner Stu Sternberg is being pressured to sell his team by several people in the league, including Rob Manfred, according to The Athletic's Evan Drellich. Manfred and, quote, some other owners are reportedly pressuring him to sell the franchise, though it's unclear who else is involved or how hard they are pressuring him. The sale's not close, as I said, but there has been interest, including the family of Edward DeBartolo Jr., 49ers fame right there. But the pressure to sell the team comes amid Sternberg's quest to find a new stadium in Tampa, which is something he's been trying to do for about 20 years now. I'm up first. Why force out a team that tries and not the A's? I'm really focused on this A's thing. The A's have bothered me to no end. They are wearing patches that say Las Vegas while they're in Sacramento. They are acting like how do I say this on the radio? They're acting like their stuff doesn't stink, and I am really tired of it. And I am really tired of Rob Manfred allowing John Fisher to fail up, because this is exactly what's happening. John Fisher can't even get it done, and they're forcing a guy who actually tries to sell his team when John Fisher doesn't try. Chris, sorry.
They also put John Fisher on the
don't even remind me,
on the committee, the baseball committee.
Yes,
he's a guy making decisions.
That's insane,
right? It's funny. I'm in Las Vegas today, so I can tell you that not a single stone has been laid yet for this new stadium. So they still have a long way to go before the A's ever get here to Las Vegas. The John Fisher thing is incredible, and now, I mean, the fact that he's even piling it even more on the fans of Oakland, the ones he left behind, by spending money all of a sudden and signing free agents and signing Lawrence Butler to a long extension and now making it appear like they are trying to compete after years and years of just flat out tanking so that the team could go away. Tampa Bay doesn't spend a lot of money either, but they've been so successful with their farm system, and the people that they hire in that franchise have done an amazing job. I was reading something the other day that in the last 10 years, the 3 teams that have won the most games are the Dodgers, the Yankees, and the Tampa Bay Rays.
Wow.
Or in the last 20 years.
Wow.
I think it's in 10 years, you'd have to include the Astros.
Okay.
But if you go back further, the Astros had remember, they tanked 5 years in a row. Tampa Bay has been consistently one of the best teams in baseball, despite the low payroll. And I'll be honest with you, I don't know why they'd be trying to throw this guy out. He needs a new stadium. Who doesn't think that Tampa Bay needs a new baseball stadium? Seems to me that people around baseball should help him as much as they can.
But no, they want to help John Fisher.
But instead they put John Fisher in charge of stuff. So look, if you could throw a lasso rope around thank you. Yes.
I'm lassoing in the camera right now. Yes.
Yeah. I was doing it outside the camera range,
which doesn't help,
which didn't help anybody watching on YouTube. But if you could throw a rope around all the idiot owners in baseball who don't try, you could get rid of 10 guys just like that.
Yep.
So
swinging
Tampa Bay,
swinging a cat, you could hit a bunch of them.
There you go. Our new favorite term.
Yes. All right. Well said by both of us, I think. I'm going to pat myself on the back for that one.
Number 3.
The NFL has been crazy in the last couple days. My 49ers are gutting the team. We're not going to talk about that right now because we're going to talk about free agent quarterback Daniel Jones finalizing a 1-year, $14 million deal with the Colts, Adam Schefter reported today. He had the chance, Jones did, to return to the Vikings, but now he becomes a challenger to Anthony Richardson for the Colts starting quarterback job in 2025. Colts GM Chris Ballard said last month that they wanted to create some sort of open competition at the position, adding that as Richardson, quote, continues to progress in his young career, us adding competition, I think, will help up everybody's game, end quote. Chris, my question is this. Have the Colts mishandled the Anthony Richardson era?
Well, there's a couple ways to go on this story, but I don't know that they've mishandled it, but I think that they overshot it in the sense that they expected Anthony Richardson to come in and be a franchise quarterback. I think the Colts were envisioning Jaden Daniels when they got Anthony Richardson.
Yeah.
And instead of getting Jaden Daniels, they've got maybe Justin Fields or, something very, very inconsistent and a player that doesn't really seem to be highly motivated to get a lot better. And the reason I say that is because around the league, what they're saying about the acquisition or the signing of Daniel Jones is that he is there to light a fire under Anthony Richardson. Well, if you have to spend, what did they pay Daniel Jones?
$14 million.
Okay. If you had to spend $14 million just to light a fire under your quote franchise quarterback, then you have misestimated what your franchise quarterback is all about. Nobody should need that kind of fire burning to try to succeed and get better. And that's what the Colts are doing here. On the other side, I think it's interesting that Daniel Jones thinks that beating out Anthony Richardson would be easier than beating out JJ McCarthy, who's
good point,
a player that's never even played before and coming off an injury with the Vikings.
Maybe he just knows that the
find
Vikings are going
Wouldn't
that
the
way.
Wouldn't the Vikings be a better chance for Daniel Jones to succeed? He's got Justin Jefferson, etc. So I find that kind of interesting as well.
Yeah, that is interesting. Do I think they've mishandled the Anthony Richardson era? I think they mishandled it in this way. They can't make up their mind on him. They tell you that he's not the starter. We're going to bench him. Joe Flacco's the starter. Okay, Joe Flacco's not playing great. We're going to make you the starter again. You're our guy. Okay, you asked for out of the game. You know what? We're not making you the starter anymore. We're going to put you back on the bench. Okay, well, that guy didn't work out. It's just he has – I think that he's been thrown in so many different directions that they've filled his head with so much stuff that I don't know it's going to work for him in Indianapolis. I think Daniel Jones is a good quarterback, and I think that the Colts will like having Daniel Jones. But Anthony Richardson, I kind of feel bad for. This is one of those circumstances where, like, whoever drafts you, it has your future in their hands, and I don't think they've done a good job of helping him be developed.
I think Anthony Richardson is closer to winding up as a bust than he is closer to being the next Jaden Daniels.
At this point, yes. At this point, yes.
He's dangerously close to slipping right out of sight. Like, if he loses the job to Daniel Jones, you may not see this guy for a long, long time.
Yes.
Number 2.
LeBron James and the Lakers were rolling, but now they have hit a small speed bump, Chris, or big speed bump.
And I can hear the happiness in your voice.
The size of the speed bump will be determined by how long LeBron James is out with a groin strain. They originally said 1 to 2 weeks, but sources say he's going to take time to rest for the playoffs. I'm up first. Do you think Luka or me? Well, I don't know why I made this question so weird. Do you think Luka and the Lakers can survive the rest of the season without LeBron? I do, but LeBron was playing amazing when he got hurt. We were talking about it last week. Best basketball of his career. He's doing things that no one's done at the age of 40. I think they can survive until the playoffs, but Luka needs to, now Luka is the star. He's the guy. He needs to figure it out, and he needs to be as good as he was with the Mavs. Chris?
Well, the Lakers lost to the Nets last night, and the Nets are the lowly Nets, right? I mean, this was a bad loss for them. They're not going to survive this in the immediate future. If you look at the Lakers' schedule, Scraby, starting on Thursday this week, they play 6 games in 8 days, and they have 2 back-to-backs in there. And not only do they not have LeBron James, they've been without 2 other starters as well. And Dorian Finney-Smith off the bench didn't play last night. So I don't think any team could survive that many guys being out of the lineup. But it doesn't really matter. I know that for the Lakers and their fans and Tony, it's been really exciting for them to make a run all the way to the number 2 spot in the Western Conference. But they don't need to hold on to that number 2 spot.
Yeah.
Would it be nice to have it? Sure. You could get home advantage in the first 2 rounds of the playoffs. But ultimately, you're going to have to go to Oklahoma City to get to the finals. And when you got a team with LeBron James on it in the playoffs, if he's well rested and gets back to being healthy, they don't need home advantage to advance. So if they fall to number 4 or to 5, to me, it's not going to really matter that much. They're still going to be good enough with LeBron and Luka to potentially make some noise in the playoffs. So, yeah, they can't survive it in the immediate future, but resting LeBron is not a terrible idea for the postseason. I mean, teams have been doing this all year. This is what basketball has become now. I mean, the Celtics basically gave Cleveland the Eastern Conference number 1 seed this year. The Celtics are like, we're not going to try that hard. You go ahead. You can have the home advantage. We'll beat you in the playoffs. And that's the attitude that most teams have.
Yeah, that is true. I mean, everybody makes the playoffs in the NBA, it seems like. So.
Well, we've argued that before.
Yes,
it's not necessarily true, but when you got 20 of the 30 teams getting postseason play,
it's a lot.
Your argument isn't far off.
Number 1.
The Baltimore Orioles have high hopes for the young stars on their team, including Jackson Holliday. Yesterday, though, fans think they got a reminder of why they should cherish every single minute they have with him, because after beating the Pirates 6-3, the Orioles did in the Grapefruit League yesterday, Holliday met up with the reporters while wearing a shirt with a dark omen, Scott Boris's company logo. The Orioles just lost Corbin Burns in free agency. Boris is Burns' agent. So my question, Chris, is Scott Boris feared by teams?
I would think they would say no, but I think the answer has got to be yes. I mean, he's the most. Is there really an argument? I mean, you want to put Rob Manfred in this discussion. You want to put, the ownership of the Dodgers in this discussion. I'm not sure who else you'd put in this discussion, but the most powerful person in baseball, I'm pretty sure, is Scott Boras. I think he pretty much determines who goes where and how much money they make. And it's crazy to me that Scott Boras, the name Scott Boras, comes with such a negative connotation.
You kind of go, ugh.
To baseball fans.
I mean, he's wearing a shirt and fans are like, oh no, he's gone.
Yes,
it's over.
Right. Yeah. Nobody wants to see Jackson Holliday wearing that shirt. Nobody likes to hear when one of their players is represented by Scott Boras. Nobody. Yet he walks into the ballpark anywhere he wants to in the big leagues. He sits in the front row, right behind home plate, and he controls the game. And that's just the way he is. And if you talk, obviously, to any of his clients, he's the greatest thing that ever came along.
Since sliced bread.
And you know what else is funny? The other players, a rising tide raises all boats, right?
Yes.
So when Scott Boras makes these kind of contract, situations for his clients, that's just more money for all the rest of the players too.
And that would be Gwynn and Chris today, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us. Don't go anywhere, though, because I am going to be taking over for the next hour. If you haven't heard enough of me yet, you will hear some more from me. So we got some more Straby Show coming up here on 97.3 The Fan. Don't go anywhere.